truly African.
He has labored, he has suffered to lead his people into the land of freedom. He is the Redeemer. He has labored, he has suffered to lead his people into the land of freedom. He is the Redeemer. He has labored, he has suffered to lead his people into the land of freedom. He is the Redeemer.
Nkrumah's legacy extends far beyond only infrastructure. His ideals of African unity, social justice, and economic independence are still pillars that guide progressive forces and thought across the African continent. All over Africa, Kwame Nkrumah is included in the educational curriculum of schools in African countries for the study of African history. Decolonization is recognized as one of the momentous events of the 20th century, and this is why Kwame Nkrumah was named as the African of the Millennium by the BBC. When you have identified as a Ghanaian, it is very common to have the name of Kwame Nkrumah mentioned when you travel anywhere in Africa. If you say, I come from Ghana, most likely the first name they will mention is, oh, Kwame Nkrumah's Ghana. This always fills me with a sense of pride when I travel anywhere in the continent. Today we are reminded with deep sadness that the work Nkrumah started is not completed. The future Nkrumah envisioned, a prosperous, united Africa free from exploitation, still calls progressives across this continent to action. The liberation struggle is not over yet. But the question is, what happened? What or who truncated the vision and set us back this way? Before we can fully embrace the vision of Osajifo, we must first dispel the divisive and needless debates that have recently intensified to try to obliterate his legacy. There are those who seek to dilute Nkrumah's role in our history as the nation's founder by introducing the idea of a Big Six. Let me be clear and unequivocal here. While many far beyond the Big Six being bandied around played significant roles in the independence struggle, Nkrumah was that critical catalyst that brought the struggle to a head and eventually resulted in the historic liberation of Ghana from colonial domination. The so-called Big Six were an accident of history and not a united force. And the historical record shows this. In fact, some of them actively opposed Nkrumah's vision for a rapid move towards independence. The next NDC government, inshallah, in January 2025, will seek to remove the distortions in our history and restore Kwame Nkrumah to his rightful place in the history of Ghana. I commend the people of Nzimaland and Nkrofo for instituting this annual celebration in honor of the greatest African. To celebrate this great man, the next NDC government will recognize this festival, titled Journey to Nkrofo. Let me take that again. To celebrate this great man, the next NDC government will recognize this festival with the title The Journey to Nkrofo as one of the official events on Ghana's tourism calendar. This festival will become a Pan-African pilgrimage for progressives from all over the world to visit the birthplace of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah.
Yes, development is our goal. Even in school, a barriers would say, or better no akonenim, or better no akonenim, and then you seek out about our troubles and the provisions, not on the back of secondary school. Yes, and yet the mention over there, but no school. Yes, the community school near Zerba, and Zama or Crawford for our own cross schools and on crochet. In Chobo, the schools are Casana Yabobos in Wagana Hano, and Zamana or Dam Community School, Ibi Pony. O Sunday young Kade, Sabi Mamia no Pepe been to also Manco School. What on to Monfonco School Casana, Cacrabano so as the Papa womb, teachers are Papa womb. Into also or could be. A county fear one to Zabanoya than the song catches Sumunuma. The maintenance community schools no. I had the damn free searches and by Nazar by then. Every day our birth rate are very high. I'm more from an adorso. The schools able to my boy my do baby. All this become home. Also is a case in room. In room no him fa. Nyimpan so wa. Oya horoba shaka say. Oya horoba shaka say. The mention a jama wage gu hono. The men zamana wage jana. Yenyim do boa and man oboboa and ba. Oboboa nyimpana wo mbanim. Ya ba na oya nyamene pie. Eya yim de he economy wa ateto. Eya yim de ye nyiska. Ye ze kopo ye ntumi ntua. Na ye jeze nyame ba manansa do. Ye jizi na nzama be ye na kakra ye tumi ya ye nzama na ye jije gu ho na ncho odesi sei ye ko ye nyim ye mana ye ko ye nyim kura na ye be ye nchirimpe ne du ode ye je damazan ma he ya boto na ode ye ja na papa ma nchirima nya damadenti na ye wo ha nsi ye wadwuma ode ye bebe ye nsi ye basra hon ye hia won vote. Yeah, but I will there about me, baby. I will card that. Masu him there in your baby order. Instead, that one I saw the mention and the AC school, so no, or day at your DC. If you are one year, school beyond you want to will see. I'm in a meeting or ministry, young crochet. I'm a cadence, maybe or church or man's ass and pedams in your crochet. You cry a crochet, it be your year with ye. Nan say I eat my crack or baby. If he crona upon a war bonk for pay, they won't go here school na no munzama we ya. Oh ya roho, densa. Dancing all dog bandam, necessary also Yacoba cow bio, near say as a chassis bio. Not to the man pay a quayimana, or they a quayim. Ain't he? Yet to yam banana ashen ye. Na yashe baby, I to a banako. Yashe baby, Sikanian Fenguan, a bottle of bar, nay, I bet che. Baby, oh no, MP aka ho asam. Asan dolls, watch the hen in our bribi. O me and Fadam Quanodo, no bobo hen. But I say, ain't you no, damn Americano, or money beer and a Dutch on your moframan. Yam of Framan and Woguha when ye jumenye. Waka galam say wasam, and Yana galam say all bagana ha. Enyanda no bagana why and then necessary used to say when then necessary watch him from Ozukogum why and then no banadam yes yaba so no pedoya or that children ejuma bia wosia ana wonsia ne nyina no school wo ho yababa ya bachiro na da man kan no na why na nsun say no why and mara o se na say eye na nsun say a eye nyina obia bebre Dame Brandon Cho, who here day, Yabafaya Zato. Joining us on Pan African Television. We are live from the side for Dr. Kwame Studios. Pan African Television, we are live, of course, on Pan African Television. We are live on radio
FM and many other affiliate radio stations across the country. Of course, we are live on social media, Facebook, Pan-African Television, YouTube. We are also live on Pan-African Television. Once again, good morning and welcome to the mother of all talk shows, Alhaji and Alhaji. Today, there's a lot going around. A few ones that I'd like to acknowledge. I want to wish the 1994 year group of Soga Copper Senior High School all the best as they mark 30 years of leaving the school. And also, I'd like to extend my congratulations to Samuel Adao and Z, as we call her, Elizabeth. And of course, the president back when the school was President Philip Aguno. So he's been His Excellency for a long time and essential. All the best. Well, this week has been an interesting week. In fact, as of yesterday, the National Cathedral Board had declared themselves squeaky clean. They said the auditing that was done by Deloitte declared that there was nothing wrong with their books. Nobody has seen the report yet. They have seen the report and wrote a statement on it to tell us that the report cleared them. That is aside. Also,
ebe na azụ na mebu n'ụwa ya sewe hu isanye na ebe nsampa na ezerba yesterday dem ibi no chrome also ya galamsey na won sun say no the man na yeso eba fodo ne akyerecha yemba dem obaye na nsunora on say ho na apo ho no bra on say ho ne daache on say ho ne bibia izinhyehyɛ pa mo na ezerba ma obaye a Sadam na eba ne so obeya akira no kwana onye na akira no kwana ejandama na no so okaye ma onyim efi nsu ni say ya so no no wase no wenda na oba na dam nsu no ya asampa kura yezerba emebunu no yenyim de wo hia adwuma ono so ka ho si ne 24-hour economy ne yezerba na ya asa no ho asa osisi ano ono nya baze adwuma na ori yeju oruko n'enyim no yenye wura na bakwa akatina ho boko na ebisa da uncle nti sahe na ye wo he nyina ye adwuma wo washe ho na mbaframa so pi wo ho a wonye adwuma nye na ndisi fo bo ho yen kase onye yemba na wonye adwuma nye no eso onko school wako eso onko suaze ma pie da wo ye bia waye wo wie ya wo tinefie onye azo ye batan bia dawo inti eboko wura no ho ne ye kebisa nda na ebe ye da na afadom kakra aka ho ebe no kwa na ye mboa wo ma obe ya ebotuma afadom kakra eza aka wo adwuma no ho ibi abi bakado mi hia mfir ibi obakado ma mandwuma ya mze adwuma ebo ma bra merbe na makafa bi so aka ho no ye bra ha we ye hwe ne yentensen no na etuma ma obi so wa abaka ho inti eka 24 economy na ibi ogbo no husafo hindo ye economics bo so ade no nye ye ade chia o so ade no po hadada na why you confused we mean janu mo on solve ni fear problems and so ye fear problems no onye yamba na wonye adwuma nya no all the for kondo na ye into 24-hour economy ni ze o me da do bia jatum da ye zeba oboboa obama kwanya ne bebre aba awe ma pia da ye na nya ho kwan na aye na aye na asumdwim enya wo mfaso nyanda worbobo wo itru ekina ekoto amunam nda akase nso ase ye hu nda murutu kwan mokra mendu obi apo nyim de ndu ni nyina.
Well, I sincerely apologize. I understood that you couldn't hear anything I was saying. So once again, let me welcome you and say good morning to you, that you're watching us live from the studios of Pan-African Television, or Sajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah Studios of Pan-African Television. We are live on Pan-African Television. We are live on Facebook, Pan-African Television. We are live on YouTube, Pan-African Television. Just look for those pages. You get to watch us live. You can also hear us live on Radio Gold 90.5 FM, your power station. And of course, we are live on many other affiliate radio stations around the country. I am Senna Nombo, and I welcome you to today's edition of the show. Now, this morning, we're having a discussion. I was just highlighting some of the things that have happened subsequently. Recall last week, we had a conversation on the power sector. Well, the ECG boss has resigned. It started with a post by Honorable John Jinapor, who is ranking member on the Energy Committee of Parliament, who put on Facebook that he was going to be fired because apparently there was a cabal that wanted some procurement that is worth $40 million, saying it was not malleable to what they were requesting, so he was going to be fired. Before, not long after that, we saw a statement from him resigning from the Electricity Company of Ghana. Since then, a temporal boss has been appointed until his appointment is properly confirmed. Well, that's an update. But let's move on to the issues we'll be discussing today. This week, biggest discussion has been about the Democracy Hub demonstrations and matters arising. Specifically, the remand of up to 53 of the people who turned up there. There are many offenses for which the police have charged them. There are many lawyers who have many different concerns about their remand, that they should not be remanded in police and some in even prison custody for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Well, like I said, the offenses include unlawful assembly. Some of the things they said they did include moving police crash barriers. They also said there was also one of them who went to pull out a key from the ignition of a police vehicle, among others. That's why they've ended up in prison and police custody on remand for 2 weeks to reappear. We'll be discussing that demonstration, because that demonstration is against galamsey, illegal money and its effects, and an urgent call for action, something to be done about it. That's our very first topic that we'll be discussing. And then we'll move on to the discussion of the matter of the voters register. The Electoral Commission responded to the NDC, I think Thursday. They each put out a statement. The statement was simple and straightforward. Trust us to fix the register. We have procedures for doing it. We are following those procedures. Allow us to do that. We don't think we need a forensic audit to put the register in shape. The NDC says no. They are not the only one who are raising questions about the register. The Butterfly family has joined. The Movement for Change have joined and are also raising their own concerns and have provided a roadmap. We'll be talking about that. And then we'll conclude with other issues. So do stay with us on the Mother of All Talk shows. There's a lot to talk about today. Joining me for the discussion today, I'll start from my right. Solomon Owusu is a member of the Movement for Change, Alliance for Revolutionary Change. Good morning.
Good morning, my brother, Senator Lumbo. Last week I wasn't around. And you are looking great.
Thank you.
Your wife. There is a successful man. There is a woman. So you cannot take this glory to yourself.
I see.
Mrs. Dombo, I'm greeting you this morning.
Well, I'll come back to you and start with you on the topic we are discussing. Louisa Kwashi joins us for the first time, but she's a face I'm sure you know. She's a member of the NDC's communications team. Louisa, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm fine, by God's grace.
Yeah, always nice to see you. And of course, Kwesi Adakwa is a member of the Socialist Movement of Ghana. Good morning.
Good morning, Senna. Nice to meet you again and also to interact with your wide audience across the country and the world.
Yes. Great. You can also join us 055 9919 to send us a comment or a WhatsApp message. But if you're on Facebook or YouTube, just use the comment section. I'll read comments from that both platforms. So just use a comment section. Plus, please write the comments in a manner which you know I'll read. Well, let's start with the Democracy Hub demonstrations and matters arising. I start from my right, Mr. Solomon Owusu this morning. Good morning once again.
Good morning, Senna, and thank you for having me. And let me take this opportunity to greet all the Movement for Change members across the entire country. You are doing a wonderful job. History will be so kind to all of you that have decided to rescue this country from the hands of incompetence. So very grateful, particularly those in the 5 northern regions and then also the OT and the voter regions. Let me greet my candidate, Mr. Alan, wherever he is, together with the youthful, indefatigable running mate, Kwame Osudanso, KOD, who is the Elijah of our time, who is shaking the Oti regions, who has changed the political narrative as we have in this country, and working so hard to ensure that victory is assured. To start with the topic of the Democracy Hub, right? Let me announce to our viewers that tomorrow at 2 p.m., this is an official invitation to Pan Africa. Mr. Alan Chemati will be holding a press conference at the press center in Accra to deal with this subject matter, the subject matter of the demonstration and Galamsey comprehensively. So all media houses are put on notice that the next president of the land will be dealing with the matter. There has to be leadership. We cannot only be complaining without providing that much needed leadership. Senna, this whole business of Democracy Hub, demonstration, arrest, remand, is the usual political strategy or tactics that governments of the day deploy when they are in a very tight corner. And I'm very surprised that Ghanaians are falling for this whole strategy. We need to ask ourselves why the Democracy Hub people decided to embark on the demonstration. It's as a result of the destruction of our environment. The levels of destructions of our environment is unprecedented, so shocking, unbelievable, just amazing that we would have leaders of this country. First of all, we have the president, who is the commander-in-chief, who is often referred to as Your Excellency. And the reason why we refer to him as His Excellency or Her Excellency is that whatever he does is supposed to be excellent. He's excellent in everything. So, His Excellency or Your Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, the environment is being destroyed, and you cannot tell me that that is the mark of someone that is excellent. Civil society organization, Christian groups, Muslim groups, youth, students, and so everybody in this country has been complaining about where we are as a country. But the New Patriotic Party, and for that matter, the president says that because it's very close to elections, the president that said he was prepared to put his presidency on the line. Fortunately for you, this time it's not even your presidency because you are leaving. He says political expediency will dictate matters now. So he's not going to deal with Galamsey, but rather allow the system to flow. His commentators, the running mate, the flag bearer, name them, all from the New Patriotic Party, are saying, look, in fact, the running mate says they would even provide more accoutrement for them to destroy the environment the more because of political power. So clearly, every reasonable and well-meaning Ghanaian realized that, hey, we are in a big fight. You hear from the parliamentary candidate of the Wasa Menfi East, urging Galamseyers to enter the forest. And if they are impeded or prevented by any military officer, they have to deal with that person because the president of the land, His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, says no military person must be in the forest. We have to lay the foundation and draw to where we are now so that people will understand that this is only a diversionary tactic. And I'm very focused on the ball. The New Patriotic Party did a very bogus job, let me put it mildly, after the election of 2020, by drawing that lousy conclusion that the party losing some votes in some of the mining areas was as a result of their fight on Galamsey. Said that first of all, Galamsey is an illegality. What we are talking about is simply fighting an illegality. And if you are put there as a government, if you are put there as a president, your only mandate as a president is to protect the constitution of the land. And in protecting the constitution of the land, your core mandate is to make sure that illegalities are not perpetrated on the people of this country. So if you are a president and you are fighting an illegality, and you come back and tell us that because you lost some votes, you are no more interested in doing that, then that is unfortunate. And if you were in a very serious country, by now this president would have been impeached. The process should have started. So he said he's not going to fight it. You go into a report that was written by your own appointee, former Minister of Environment, Science and Technology, Professor Frimpong Boateng, as the chair of the Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining. He explains to you that MPP losing votes in mining areas was not because of a supposed or perceived fight against Galamsey. In fact, if the fight had been sustained and done very well, the MPP would have gained more votes. So I've lived in the mining community before. I've lived in Obuasi before. Let me tell you, the totality of population in any area in this country, the number of them that are involved in Galamsey are just less than 5% of any community. They want to go to the mining areas. Majority of the people are involved in farming. They are not even involved in mining. So according to those that voted against the MPP, their reason for voting against the MPP was that whereas we supported you in your fight against Galamsey, we realized that you only stopped indigents from engaging in this criminal activity and brought in your own people, either Chinese, Togolese. One thing that even annoys me is that the people that are destroying the environment the most, they are not Ghanaians. It will interest you to know that majority of them are coming from Cote d'Ivoire and Burkina. So they don't even have any sense of appreciation. They don't have that soft heart for the environment, because that is not their country. They are only destroying your country so that they can go back to their country. So the people said, whereas we thought you were doing or preventing Galamsey genuinely, you were only silencing one group of people and introducing your own set of people. Professor Frimpong Boateng, wherever you are this morning, I'm greeting you. The man was so meticulous. He mentioned names for the first time that we have a sitting minister that was bold and looked straight into his own political party and appointees and called them out. He said Gabi Asare Ochidako is involved. Kojo Nkrumah is involved. Samuel Esiedu Bekwi Potozwa is involved. Ite Kotego is involved. Charles Owusu is involved. Captain Koda is involved. The youth organizer of Chebi is involved. In fact, for the youth organizer, he was bold to go and do the Galamsey right behind the president's residence at Chebi. That's how serious the matter was. So the president, the minister was so bold to identify. If I want to go to Wassa East, he says the former the MP there is also amply involved. He is from the NDC. They are making laws for us. So we are in the known as to the people. In fact, I nearly forgot the name of Wuntumi, but I'll come to that. So Professor Frimpong Boateng helped this country solve the problems for us by identifying all the Galamsey kingpins. All that the president needed to do was to use his title as the Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces. And Your Excellency, he should have only behaved as an excellent person by saving the people of this country. Because what we are going through is an existential threat. So that now I cough by heart. I don't know what I've done. It's because of the water. the vegetables that we eat. No one is saved from this milieu, because if you say you are not living in a mining community, that is not enough. You will definitely eat. Have you asked yourself the sort of water that is used in growing the very vegetables that you eat? These are all coming from polluted water. Indeed, what even makes the matter so shocking was the fact that in the report, Professor Boatin makes it clear that at one point, he together with the president and Sir John say when someone dies, he say, may his soul rest in peace. I will never say may his soul rest in peace on this occasion. Cannot lead these innocent ones, can't put their lives in such a terrible manner, and you die and say may his soul rest in peace. I won't do that. He looked straight into Sir John's face and told the president that the number one danger to our forest is this gentleman sitting down there. At that material time, all that the president needed to do was to have arrested him. Calls for his arrest and prosecution. But the president will not do that for obvious reasons. Because he himself is amply involved in the business of Galamsey, according to Alistair Matthias. You remember that gentleman? That gentleman was bold enough, he was talking loud, not knowing he was reporting to investigative journalists, that every month, with the help of the president of the land, Your Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, the commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, he is able to ship out between $40 to $60 million worth of gold out of this country. This was aired on Al Jazeera, an international media house. You didn't watch it. It's all over on YouTube. You click Alistair Matthias, the first name that pops up is I do connection with the Akufo-Addo. That's what is there on the internet. When it was aired on Al Jazeera, what did our president say? He said he wrote a beautiful letter to Al Jazeera, warning that if they did not take that documentary off air, he was going to deal with them. So I was watching. I believe my president, Ado Showboy, Ado Gaga, he was going to deal with them. The Al Jazeera people wrote back to the president and said, look, we are not just only going to take it off. We are not going to take it off, but if you dare, the rest of the videos you will run. Since then, the president went kaput. So clearly, that is why we are unable to deal with the issues of Galamsey. Now the matter became escalated because either two people thought, oh, we were very far off the effects of Galamsey. Until on the 30th of August, the Ghana Water Company in the central region, they escalated the matter, issued a statement that people living in Cape Coast, Elmina, and the surrounding environment communities were to expect water rationing. Why? The only reason is that Galamsey has caused the Prairie River to be polluted, and that the raw water that they were expected to receive at the Asechehiman water treatment plant, they were only getting 40% of it. And that was what alarmed everyone. And that was when you began hearing from the Christian Council. Because remember, the last time there was an escalation, they didn't write. They rather went to the Galamsey site and prayed. They left the problem and went to a different place. Because the problem is sitting at the Jubilee House. You don't have to miss it. At your ages, you are getting nearing 80, 75. What else? You have eaten enough salt. All that is left is to speak truth. If you are above 40 and you are afraid to speak truth, you are not worth living. When people are celebrating birthdays, one thing I tell them is that, do you know your days on earth is reducing? Are you celebrating the fact that you are nearing your grave? Or you are celebrating the fact that you are pumping champagne? You are nearing your grave. So from 40 going, all that you have to do is to be thinking about doing good and leaving a good name, legacy. This time around, they realized that what they did in the past by praying could not work because they left the problem. So this time they will issue a statement. Now the Peace Council issue a statement. We have the TUC. TUC is threatening that they will even demonstrate. And a host of people also speaking to them. My own candidate, Alan, was so hard to the extent that, given the opportunity, anyone engaged in Galamsey will face a life imprisonment. No ifs and buts. Because the people that are engaging in Galamsey are putting everyone's life under threat. So why must you allow them to go unpunished? So with this background, we had the youth of this country say they will not allow their future to be put in jeopardy. And so they would demonstrate. And that was what brought in the democracy hub. Let me say that the Ghana Police Service must not be an institution that is used to thwart our democratic efforts. They must remember that the country has moved since 1971 from being a police force to a police service. And so their only function must be to serve the people of this country. We have moved from the brute. Has to be service. Yes, I have watched a number of the videos of these demonstrators. And let me be frank here that some of them, the demonstrators went overboard. And I'm here to condemn those aspects. For instance, you can't say you are going on a demonstration and you only go and mount 4 posts. Do you know 4 posts? Did you play some before? On the road, you are playing football. Nobody will take you serious. That one I would disagree any given day because it's a serious matter. You are engaging in a very serious matter, and so all seriousness must be shown. But having said that, the energies that have been expended in dealing with these demonstrators by the police and particularly the Attorney General. Remember, the Attorney General is an appointee of the President. And if you read Article 88.2, that the Attorney General will be given such other functions as the President may wish. Is this part of the other duties that the President has assigned to him, that he should just go and put the fear of God into these young ones? If the Attorney General together with the police would expend just 10% of the effort that they are showing today on those galamseyers and their assigns, mind you, I have shown you those that are doing the galamsey. It's the big men, the so-called big men up there. The people that you see in the bushes, they are just small fishes who can buy excavator. Those young ones who have the money to buy excavator, who has the money to buy the chemicals that are used to wash these gold. They have nothing. They are not. They are unemployed. They are only looking for ways and means to live, survive. But the real architects are the big men, the so-called big men who are living in Accra, who are giving them all the accoutrement to go and destroy the environment, because for them, they have already bought properties in Dubai, in Paris, in New York, in Shanghai, everywhere. South Africa, you go, they have bought it. And all that they are waiting for, they have double passports. If it's not a UK citizen, it's a US citizen, they are only waiting, grab all the money, and then catch the next available flight. So the Attorney General, if he's so mindful, would rather concentrate his effort on pursuing those that are causing harm to our environment. See, when I think about the president and how he has behaved in dealing with this whole matter, sometimes I wonder whether some of us were jujued or bewitched. They say the president, and people meet me, my former party members, they tell me, oh, as for the president, he's very good, but people have taken him to malams, and I said, but if someone is working on you, why don't you work on the person as well? The president is enjoying it. Look, when Akonta Mining, you remember, went to Mills Mining Company, they have been given prospecting license a mining license or permit to be mining around some areas in Samaraboy.
The forest.
They had not been given permit to enter the Tanonimiri forest. By the time you could say Jack, the guy went to me was in the forest. So see what the constitutional, the human rights lawyer did as the president. See, sometimes when you are bringing lawyers, because they know the loopholes in the system, he decided to legalize the entry of Wuntumi into the Tanonimiri forest by causing the Environmental Protection Agency to send an LI to Parliament, LI 2462, for it to be passed so that the president will have the mandate or the legal authority to be given our forests for mining activities. That is what our excellency has done. He is so excellent that he looked into the unborn generation, the younger ones, the elderly, the youthful ones, the future of this country, and said, look, what is good for this country is to be giving our forests to people to mine so that the environmental protection or the flora and fauna that we all enjoy, the oxygen will be destroyed and all of us will die. Interestingly, to my surprise, we had members of our parliament from MPP and NDC agreed that this LI must be passed, and indeed it was passed, and just under a year, 390,000 hectares of our forest land were destroyed, which caused the Institute of Foresters to write to the president that, Mr. President, what you have done is to put everyone's life in danger. That was your excellency, so excellent in giving out our forest. So, Senator, we are dealing with a situation where government is afraid that the more we talk about Galamsey, the more the actualization of the 13% that the new patriotic party will get becomes so clear. And so what do? Let's concentrate all our energies and efforts on this police matter. Did you listen to the Deputy Attorney General? We are going to prosecute. This is a serious matter. And what even freaked me was a letter or a statement that was issued by the youth wing of the New Patriotic Party, signed by one Salam Mustafa. I laughed. I said, these young guys, do they know what they are about? Do they know what they are doing to themselves? Look, only last year, 7th of October 2023, Senator, you remember there was a popular TV show on UTV. Their showbiz. I think they do it on Saturdays or so. Harmlessly doing a live program, we had youth organizers across Greater Accra forcibly entering the studio that A+ or so have been bashing the government, so they were going to beat him. That is what the youth of today, how they want to spend their energy. Those people were even granted bail, unlawful entry, and unlawful disruption of a program. Those people were granted bail, and now they are walking about free. How much more people that had the intention of demonstrating to save you and I? And you have a youth organizer, he sits down, and in his thinking, calling on the Attorney General to deal mercilessly with these young ones is the way to go. Let me tell all those that have been arrested, they will be out. But woe unto this government for any of them to die. Hey! Like it will be a long night in Zion, in this country. So it's not anything, Senator. It's a diversionary practice. And tomorrow my candidate, Honorable Alanchewate, will expatiate further on this matter to put it to rest so that Ghanaians will know what lies ahead of us in election 2024. I end my submission here.
Well, we're looking forward to that press conference that will be addressed. You said the flag bearer himself.
Yes, flag bearer himself. 2 p.m. tomorrow.
Presidential candidate.
Of
the is it Movement for Change?
No, he's an independent candidate. Okay. The movement is the vehicle. You understand?
Okay.
He's an independent candidate. Very important.
Is the alliance very much alive?
Thanks so much. We are all over the country.
Okay. Well, so Solomon Owusu is from the Movement for Change, Alliance for Revolutionary Change. I'll listen to Louisa before I come and read some of the comments you're sharing with us. Louisa.
Good morning once again, Sana, and then to all our viewers across the country. And I'm so glad to be here finally. The issues of Galamsey, as we are discussing, I heard my senior Solomon speak, and then I am still in awe. Why am I in awe? We are in 2024, and it is quite saddening that a group of people who are touted to be the elite of our nation would sit down aloof and see that the entire nation is thrown into a state of tantrum and emergency. Why is this an emergency? I've been going to the Western region back and through, which you are very much aware of. And then one of the very things that touches your heart to the core is how you see with your naked eye the kind of harm we are going through as a people, and the people have nothing to do about it because they have no place to call home apart from the place they are living in. So you take a tour to the Western region. I went to Shama, and you see the kind of water that is joining the beach at Shama. You will marvel. Since when did the sea in Ghana become brown? When we were kids, we've always seen and sang songs of how the sea is beautiful in color blue. All of a sudden, the sea at our shores has turned brown. And we sit in Accra. Sometimes people in the metropolitan, people in the cities do not have that connection with the issues at hand. But this is where the big deal is. I've watched a lot of documentary and videos circulated on social media where a woman fetched a barrel of water that was brown, and it has elements of mercury and cyanide, because listening to environmentalists, one thing you hear is that when mercury enters your water body, it is mostly forever because it doesn't decompose. No matter how your water becomes clear, that tiny element of that harmful metal is still in the water body. So she fetches the water into a barrel, the brown barrels we have in our homes, and buys alum of 20 cedis to put in the water for the water to turn clear. So the sand goes beneath it, and then the water becomes clear for her to use to mix cassava dough and what we call acheke, a delicacy that are served in most restaurants in Accra. So they prepare all these things with that kind of water. You sit in the metropolitan thinking you don't live in the villages, so you don't have that direct contact with the harm that is being done. Then I'm sorry, the food you consume in Accra has that element of the harmful chemical and metals we are talking about. And then NPP as a political party, I've always said they pretend to be solving the problem, but they compound the issues. And after they've compounded the issues, they come back to play the politics of equalization. Over the periods that we've shouted about how Galamsey has destroyed our environment, you see a member of parliament on the floor from the side of NPP stand gallantly disgracing his constituents by saying that if we are talking about the harm of Galamsey now, and around the time that NDC was in government, Galamsey was happening and our water was still being poisoned. This is where I find so nauseating. Why do we vote? We vote to cause a change when we realize the government of the day is not doing what we expect of them as a people. So in 2016, you preached your message of hope to Ghanaians. Even though we shouted that message was a scam, they managed to convince Ghanaians, and the people of Ghana voted for them. So the people of Ghana do not expect you to come and tell them that what the NDC was doing, that you painted it black. Even though it was not black, you managed to paint it black, that they bought into. you will now come and do Black Pro Max. So what has the NPP done in the fight of Galamsey? Now the Operation Vanguard, Operation Galam Stop and all of that. So under a certain guise that they have kept the menace of Galamsey, they are migrating the people on into a better scheme, better ways of mining. They termed it community mining. As a child who grew up in Kumasi, and I was glad Solo mentioned Obuasi, the only commodity that was so priceless that was coming from Obuasi for everybody to purchase was orange. So we were calling it Obuasi and Kawo. So if you buy an orange and the price is expensive, the moment they say Obuasi and Kawo, you don't complain, you just pay, because you know you are going to sack something sweet. Today, we don't have Obuasi and Kawo. And MPP tells us we are going to do community mining because of all these issues. What did they do under the community mining? They put together their party members in groups and gave out licensing. So this is the big deal. From 95 to 2016, the governments had only given 57 leases for mining in this country. From 1995 under Chema Rawlings down to 2016 when President Mahama handed over, only 57 licenses. From 2016 to 2024 as we speak now, President Akufo-Addo's government have given out 1,696 mining leases. That is where the scam comes in. Under the community mining, party apparatchiks, women organizers, chairmen, youth organizers, treasurers were given the opportunity to file their names. So they put their names of their family and friends there and they call it consignment. So they go to the various communities. One question I've always asked and I've not gotten any answer from any NPP person or traditional leaders is that if something is community-based or centered, as a community, am I not supposed to benefit from it? Am I supposed to inherit the negative aspects and not enjoy any benefits of it? So if one is talking about community mining, then from my knowledge in public relations as a professional in that field, there is something we call a corporate social responsibility of any entity in the domain where you are operating. So for instance, I live around a community in Ahafwano, let's say Mankranso to be precise, and there is community mining. I know for a fact that there are a number of consignments there that are captured under community mining. So they are mining in my community, assuming that whatever processes they are going through are the processes is supposed to be, they are harm-free and they are causing little harm to the environment. Now, in my community, there is degradation. Cocoa farms, maize farms, rice farms are being spoiled and destroyed for Galamsey. How is that a benefit of community mining? Now, after the harm is caused, the people take the proceeds and leave without any single edifice there to show for a corporate social responsibility. We've seen some companies here who put up school buildings, they put up clinics, they put up cheap compounds and put a name to it coming from this organization as a way to thank the people for patronizing their services. When they go there to do the community mining, Senna, you are the journalist. Have we ever seen any commissioning of a project in these places, the villages, that this school and that tree, we've built this complex for them, putting furniture and everything in there for their learning as a benefit of that community mining the people are doing? And that tells you the political nature of the whole issue. NPP apparatchiks brand themselves as such just to reap the benefits of the nation and render all of us into a state of emergency. So when they did this community mining, the people complained and all of that. Now they moved into another phase. And what is that phase? Let us pretend to be solving the issues by bringing everybody on board. So President Akufo-Addo went to the Ashanti region to put together traditional leaders. And when he was going, one thing I've always found insulting to the intelligence of the ordinary Ghanaian is the kind of entourage he took to that meeting. he went there with Chairman Wontumi. Before going there had been documentaries for some of your colleagues in your profession, Erastus Asaridonko, where Chairman Wontumi was fingered in illegal mining, Galamsey. So if you are going to the negotiation table to talk to people to buy into the processes you want to use to combat Galamsey, do you then go with the person who is compounding the issues? Do you go there with the culprit? That is what he did. And on that podium, he sought to exonerate him, writing love letters like he usually does. Chairman Wontumi is not involved in Galamsey. He is a legalized and licensed person. Now, from the little knowledge in geography that we've been taught, where do waters get their sources from? Water gets its sources mostly from mountainous areas and from our forest reserves. That is why in the knowledge of our ancestors and the leaders who preceded President Akufo-Addo, there was this constitutional instrument that says that we are not supposed to mine in our forest reserves. So no matter how the river flows through and how polluted it gets at a point, there will be a clear source that will come and run through with the system. But what did President Akufo-Addo do? Now that clear source is being tackled. You go to our forest reserves and we are mining painfully. And the kind of mining they are doing is alluvial type. So they are mining at the sources of the river itself. So what is the clean source of water in our nation? And painfully, Ghana Water Company, when the people of Cape Coast were in their festivities, they issued a release. And that release says that due to the issues of Galamsey, they cannot produce the amount of water they are supposed to produce, the clean water. So we should all be mindful as a citizen with the amount of damage we are doing to our water bodies. And if care is not taken, we would have to import water. Then I ask myself as an ordinary Ghanaian, a stack of sachet water is now 15 Ghana cedis and above. How much do people make a day in this nation? Some people work for a meager salary of about 500 Ghana cedis a month. Let's do the maths. Divide it by 30 days. How much is the person supposed to spend in a day? So if you are supposed to buy imported water, we know that when we import things, we add the charges at the port to it. Taxes and everything, the prices go up. So if you are buying it at 15 Ghana cedis now, and we are to import, based on the so many taxes that the same governments have introduced at the ports, import duties are something we cannot even pay. So you are now going to buy a sachet of water for around 40 Ghana cedis. I ask myself, how will the ordinary Ghanaian buy water? So you sit at the helm of affairs, and because you are benefiting from corruption, I've always said and maintained that in our part of the world, when corruption favors you, they call it protocol and glory of God. So now you see people hitherto, and that is the hypocrisy I talk about. And I want the young people like myself to come out of that kind of politics, because if Ghana will become any better place for the future we want for ourselves and our children, then it starts from how we uphold our integrity in times like these. So in 2016, 2012, 2013, the likes of Salam, who all of a sudden have become so disrespectful and calling Ghanaians names, citizens names like hooligans, the message he was preaching then was different. So if we are a generation that is supposed to make Ghana a better place, you maintain a certain principle through and through. It doesn't matter the political divide you belong to. Let's call a spade a spade. Is whatever happening in our country something the MPP is proud of? That is the first question I want to ask them. Now, if they are not proud of whatever that is happening, I see a lot of the base. They are galvanizing the base, telling them that, oh, this Galamsey menace is the NDC that is overhyping the issues. They are not dire like we see it and all of that. I want to ask their base that they are galvanizing. When the party Yeska mantra was chanted, how many of them owned excavators? It came down to their national executives. Their national women organizer was fingered in that party Yeska scandal. Excavators that were bent, a number of them belonging to her, were included. How many of us in our various villages? Today you walk to somewhere around Ekumfi Nakwa, Abur, in Pese Daze, the same villages, the villages in Ashanti region. How many of them, the grassroots who wear MPP t-shirts, that they have polluted so much to love the party more than Ghana, are benefiting from Galamsey? If not, they are worse off than most of us, because they have direct contact with the harmful chemicals. And now, what are the solutions and the issues we have to talk about? Because if you talk about a lot of issues, you have to prefer a solution. One of the things that a citizen can do to talk about issues is to go on a demonstration. That is a right. We call it advocacy. You speak truth to power. And then if the people in the hands of affairs are probably not in the known of the issues that are happening, when they go on a demonstration, you give a petition that contains a lot of the issues and what is happening to the presidency or the people at the helm of affairs at that level. And then they come to a realization that, oh, these are the things that are happening on the ground. So advocacy is not something that we should fight as a people. The President Akufo-Addo, I call him a demonstration broker, because every name he has for himself now came out of advocacy. We've been told that on the campuses of University of Ghana, he was very vocal, even against his own father. He did various demonstrations against that, and one would have expected that on a lighter note, when he becomes a president, what he demonstrated against, he would have stopped it at that point. But what are we saying? A continuation and even an increase. That notwithstanding, a human rights lawyer, young people go on the streets to fight for a cause you have failed at, just to draw your attention. And they are classified as hooligans, second-class citizens, and then your party executive goes to the site and even try to incite the police against them. Let us not forget that when we wear a uniform, a security uniform, you are not wearing the security uniform as a citizen from another nation. You are wearing that uniform to protect the Ghanaian as a citizen of the nation. So that's thing that is now happening, where there is this gap between the citizen and the police, is very disturbing to our security, because the police is supposed to be my friend. Now you walk about and you see a policeman, even with our church drivers, and the first thing they do, they want to avoid them by all means. So if they do this sign to you when you are driving, it means that Charlie, the guy is there on road. So you have to find another route, because we are afraid of the very people who are supposed to be our friend based on how they handle us, their professional ethics. Now these people are on the street, they are demonstrating. I've always said that before anybody embarks on a demonstration, they go to the police. And the police gives approval, yes or no. They sit and agree on the route they are supposed to use. Now you go on the grounds and the people, according to the police, are not sticking to the routes they were supposed to use. Fair enough. You should redirect their course. But since when did we as a people start arresting pregnant women when they go out to get their voices heard? Start arresting 8-year-old girls when they go out to get their voices heard? Start arresting people who were coming from the mosque when they go out to get their voices heard? Start arresting people who are just going to visit people in the hospitals. So now people cannot walk on the streets of Ghana freely because there are demonstrations happening. Is that the case? And when the MPP sought to incite Ghana police and do all of this, Ghana police came out with a very interesting release. They said that they have agreed to a certain aspect of their conduct that was not constitutional. People that were detained, some of them were not arraigned before court in 48 hours. So the said personnel who were involved in that, they are going to deal with them at their disciplinary level. So MPP, what is their problem? These are a set of vindictive people, and their problem is that their party flags were bent. So out of all the issues that were happening, the pregnant woman that was manhandled, the 8-year girl who has been given a certain pictorial image in her mind for life, that in Ghana you cannot speak for yourself. They do not care about all of that. What they care about is their party flag that was bent. And if any of us care to know, that of the NDC was also bent as well. But why is it that the NPP are so vindictive that a flag that was bent they cannot let go? So because of that, heads must roll. Things must happen in this country to shut the mouths of the people. What they are doing is that they know that per how they have conducted themselves, with the 58 million dugouts they have given us, with paying of a Keta Port CEO, that's a port does not exist, with whatever scandals that have gone on with the presidency and the president's family, giving dollars of contracts to a daughter, when all of a sudden whatever services she was supposed to render to the nation was even being rendered by a state agency, the National Ambulance Service. You give a contract to your daughter over a $10 million contract, and then supposing to maintain ambulances. Meanwhile, it's the National Ambulance Service that is maintaining those vehicles. Why then did we pay such monies to your daughter? Because she's the president's daughter, Vermouth. The person goes on with our money. We sat in this nation when a relative to the president was appointed as a finance minister. And what did that finance minister do? Started borrowing. When before they came to power in 2016, they told us borrowing is not the way. We would have to find internal sources to run the nation. But these sets of people came, and every solution to the problem we have in Ghana, if even a polyclinic in anywhere in Ghana needs a needle, the solution is borrowing. Just because that relative of the president, who was the finance minister, Ken Oforiatta, had an entity that benefited every time the nation borrowed. So they borrowed, plunged the state into perpetual hardship. So they know that in the run-off to whatever election we are having, the Ghanaian will come out to speak boldly and demonstrate. So let's make an example out of these young people. And as a youth of this nation, I sympathize and empathize with all of them. And one thing I would want all the families who have their relatives there at remand and all of that is that they should be calm and know that their people fought for a good cause. And as the people in Ghana, I have seen the Katanga boys and other people coming together wanting to demonstrate a bigger one to tell the government to release these people. We are with them all the way. And as a young Ghanaian, I feel bad because I couldn't join that cause. But moving forward, we should all as youth have a voice, be concerned about politics. Because the very existence of our being revolves around politics. Now this is the big deal. When I spoke about the debts that we have accrued over the period because of our abysmal performance and gross incompetence, this is it. One of the avenues that government raises money to take care of issues in this nation is taxes. So if we are impoverished in that manner and we are plunged into debts of over 761, and then now what it is that government has to raise revenue. So if the taxes we are paying now, we are screaming that if I buy a bottle of water, if I buy a box of cornflakes, if I buy a tin of milk at the supermarket and I take the receipt and I read a lot of taxes that have been introduced with their high percentages, if I am complaining now that that is what is making the price of my milk go high, it will go higher because the government would have to increase the tax percentages and introduce new ones as they have done in the past. So every issue concerns the ordinary Ghanaian in this country. Now wrapping up on the issue of Galamsey, one of the major things the young people in these communities have said, the reason they cannot stop being laborers to the big men who take the consignments is that there are no jobs. There are no jobs in the system. So from where we sit as a people, the party I belong to, the National Democratic Congress, we are saying that the problem that is persistent, if you want anybody to stop, because most of these things that were done to stop them from operating, you realize when you chase them out of the bush to come home, they come and the social vices increase because the devil finds work for the idle hand. So before anything else, jobs should be a topmost priority. So under the NDC government, should we be given the mandate in 2025? We are saying that we are going to provide decent and sustainable jobs. It's not the kind of jobs that NABCO produced, that in a span of 6 months, 3 months, you are seen working and you are giving some little stipends. And when campaign period or Independence Day is over, because that is where they were parading them as an achievement. So when Independence Day celebration is over, you go back to reset mode. The reset mode they were giving them is that they take them back to whichever menace that there was there. But the reset mode that we are talking about, that they do not understand, is to take the nation from the gross incompetence and mismanagement they have given to the people, set them on a path of growth. And that path of growth is to provide decent jobs. Under the NDC's 24-hour economy, we are saying that we are going to do industrial revolution in various sectors and service provision, so that the ordinary Ghanaian in those communities can get jobs to do.
Okay.
After they get jobs to do, we are going to ban mining in our forest reserves and in our water bodies. So after banning them, because if you've given them jobs, now they are out of the sites. So you ban any mining in those areas, in our water bodies and in our forest reserves. So now the people are home. Nobody's going there to mine, and they are working. So we are going to do a land reclamation services. Whatever damage that has been done to our lands, we are going to use science and technology to reclaim the lands. And then under the Blue Water Initiative, we are going to see to it that the water that is now brown, like you are drinking Milo or Lipton, will be turned back to the original state. And that being said and done, all of this cannot be achievable without your votes on the 7th of December. So if you pick your ballot paper on the 7th of December, do not even bother with the counts and the numeracy of it. Just look for the umbrella. You will see President Mohammed's picture to the left, the umbrella in the middle, and an empty box by your right. Just put your thumb in your ink pad and thumbprint in that empty box. Get a tissue that will be provided in the ballot box. Wipe your fingertips before you fold the ballot paper and gently put it in the ballot box. And trust you me, your vote will be protected by the National Democratic Congress to see that this nation is reset.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Louisa. And if you just join us, we're having a conversation on the Galamsey Minute, the remand of Democracy Hub protesters. Well, a few comments from those of you who are joining us via Facebook. And good morning to Ni, and thanks for joining us. Nia Waina is a financial analyst. Eric Okusepeni says the party needs money, was a statement from the MPP leadership as a motivating factor for all party appointees to be involved in Galamsey. MPP are a nemesis to Ghana's progress. Musa Batwa says the police's unprofessional conduct in handling the Democracy Hub demonstration, which has been condemned by groups like IDEC, erodes public trust in law enforcement. We must unite behind the Stop Galamsey Now agenda, especially as government reluctance due to official involvement in illegal mining hampers progress. John Mohammed's prudent policy proposal offers a constructive path to address these issues amicably, ensure accountability and a more effective fight against illegal mining for the benefit of our communities and environment. There's a Kokusapani again who says Nana Akufo-Addo was cooked hype to we Ghanaians by the Kumasi MPP media, as they say, as human rights advocates, but lo and behold, it was kleptocrats, Hini, and a tyrant. Sulikam Sika says, I'm impressed with your submission, Louisa. Bedu Kwame, Ghana has become an embarrassingly lawless nation under Akufo-Addo and Bawumia. Kukubo Stephen also joins us. He says, good morning. Ghana is bleeding under His Excellency Nana Addo and Bawumia government. My greetings to your guests, especially Mr. Solomon Owusu, for the good work he's doing for Movement for Change. Sarah Jibril says, good morning. My humble regards to my great senior, Sonny Rocky, for the wonderful, fantastic work he's doing for the movement. Item 13 is a short for Ghanaians. A vote for Alan is a vote for the uprising of Wally. Which one is item 10? Yeah, that's why I'm surprised. I know item 10.
Give us all these. This is item 10. Alan is at the 13th position, and it is item 10. That's a sure.
Mr. Nakuma says, good morning. Thank you for the good work that you've been doing for Mother Ghana. I want to ask my brother Solomon, they are from the MPP. If this election should end up in a runoff, which political party are they going to join?
Which party is he?
Vincent Akuma heading state his political party.
But we will be part of any runoff, so he should rather tell me where he will belong to. It's Alan and any other person. Take it from me.
I see. So like the senior says, NDC is more truthful than the MPP. Majority of Ghanaians are willing to give John Mahama and the great NDC a second chance to govern this country again. But the failed candidates has nothing to offer than license the seats. Let's reject them, period. Basement says, see why I don't believe in politicians, especially NDC. Even when police came with medical report that a supposed pregnant woman lied, they still believe propagating their lies, and their leader is crying. Everyone is against them. There's power stones, as most of the police officers on the street are invincible and Delta forces recruited into the service. That's coming from Power Stone, who sent that. There are many more comments that you're sending in. I'll be going to some more as we go along in the show. But first, let's listen to Mr. Kwesi Adakwa for his thoughts on our very first discussion on the Galamsey menace. The Democracy have demonstrations against the menace and call for action, and then the remand of some of the protesters, 53 in number, in prison custody for 2 weeks.
Yes, thank you, Senator. Well, my brother and sister have run through a lot of issues related to the first topic. So I'll continue from where they left off. But first of all, I will extend the solidarity of myself and my colleagues in the SMG with the young people and the Democracy Hub protesters and organizers. The idea of protest is a powerful tool in a democracy, so we don't take it lightly that people are abused when they go on protest. I'll come to that later, but what I want to say is that even our very independence was birthed within the crucible of protest. In 1948, the British actually had laws, very stringent laws against assembly and protest and everything that challenged their colonial power. And let's not forget that people were sent to jail. Nkrumah was actually jailed in 1951 before the election. That's how come he won the election from jail. And he was jailed because of protest, the positive action. So protest is very important, and it's unfortunate that we are where we are. We know that people in power are always using the levers of state, the power, authority of the state, to try and avoid accountability. But let's not forget, as the preamble of the Constitution points out, that the power of the state emanates from the people. We are the source of the power that is used to govern this nation. But before I come to the details of what we think about the protest, I think we will go into the source, the cause of the protest, which is that chiefly about illegal mining. I am very hesitant to use the word galamsey, and I'm going to explain why. Because it has a class connotation, and we have moved on from, in our heads, what galamsey is or what galamsey is not. But what I want to say is that gold itself is a source of wealth and danger. And what we are seeing is that the danger is staring us our face, and a few people are enjoying the wealth. And the point is that for a long time we've been mining. I mean, our forefathers, we used to be called the Gold Coast. But before that, we used to ship millions of ounces of gold through the Mali Songhai Empire all the way through to the Arab world, where Mansa Musa was reputed to be the richest man still in the amount of gold that he possessed in the history of the world. And it's all through gold. And our people have always mined gold. We've always known how to mine gold, how to prospect, how to mine, and how to work with gold. That is how come you go to most communities in Ghana, their paraphernalia of the leaders are in golden artifacts. It's been part of our lives. But what we are seeing now is something that we have never seen before. We are seeing the total destruction of our environment, the total upheaval of our society, and the destruction of our water sources, just so that we can mine for gold. And the devastation that is caused by the current way of mining gold is so, catastrophic. We can't even imagine what we are going to do in the next few years. People are already predicting a lot of doom and gloom, and I can tell you that it has already started. The stories that we have heard on this show this morning, they are even bigger and more stories about the heartbreak that this mining episode has brought to us. But some of the devastation that we are seeing, we see babies born deformed at birth. Those with 3 fingers, 6 fingers, 1 eye. These are not fables. Listeners, let's not make a mistake. These are not fables. They are actually documented. Some are even published in journals where they have documented children at birth with defects, and those are the visible defects. The experts are also telling us that they are defects that we can see: mental defects, internal organ defects, and even internal organ failure. We are also seeing a huge spike in diseases that we didn't used to contend with. We are even struggling with malaria and environmentally induced diseases like cholera and stuff like that. But if we are now contending with cancer and kidney and liver failure, organ failure, respiratory diseases, these are not things that are things we should take lightly. We are also looking at the ecological damage that we are doing to our environment. Some trees have been there for thousands of years. Some trees have been there hundreds of years. These rivers that flow through our lands are rivers that even our ancestors used to worship. Well, when the worship was not necessarily because they actually believe or whatever they believe, but they also knew the sacredness of having a river to drink, because where you can drink, get your drinking water from. So these are the clear issues that are facing us, and there are thousands and thousands. One report that I read said over 400,000 acres of forests have been cleared so that we can mine gold. These are not things that have happened before. We've been mining gold. These are very dangerous things that we are seeing. And then also the rivers itself, people are mining on it and polluting the soil with chemicals that the scientists are called forever chemicals. They don't degrade. Once it gets into the system, it stays there for years and years and years and years and years. And that is where they are going to cultivate the foodstuffs that you and I consume. So we are destroying our water, we are destroying our food. So what will be left for us? The forest that purifies our air, we have cleared them. So what are we leaving for us as human beings to live on after we mine the gold mindlessly? Then we are also seeing very disturbing security and social consequences of this gold mining. One of them is that people suddenly, the mechanics are so complex, but what I've learned from some experts like Professor Kwesi Enin, is that some people, so they are saying that we are going towards a situation where Ghana will become a Galam state. So this is a coinage from the narco state, where the narcotic criminals took over some countries. We are heading towards, as the experts say, a direction where we are going to have a Galam state. A Galam state is basically where criminal mafia enterprises are going to take over the state, and they are going to control how this state is governed, how this state functions. And we have to be very careful. We are also seeing that when you look at the pictures, you see people with guns wielding very dangerous weapons and mining sites, protecting this mine. They are not the mining people. They are not mining. They are there protecting. And some of them are very dangerous criminals, and they form themselves into all this criminal societal menace. And then we also have societies communities where suddenly there is an upheaval in the community because some young men have suddenly acquired wealth from this uncontrolled and illegal mining, where there's no regulation, so they extract the wealth, suddenly they become rich, and they upset the social construction of the society in those communities, and there is a breakdown of society in those communities. I can tell you, if you go to the Takwa area and the Ekropon area in the western region, I can tell you, I can tell you these things are happening, and we are destroying our society, our beautiful Ghana, with this gold mining. So what are the causes of this gold mining? Of course, we can talk about a lot of things, but I just want to zoom straight into the immediate causes. But I'll categorize them into legislative, governance, and then the enforcement failure that we are seeing. Legislative. When you go into our laws, there are about 34 laws governing mining, right from the Constitution, who controls the concession and the gold and the minerals. The Constitution in Article 257 says that all minerals in Ghana are vested in the president. I think this is a misnomer. The kind of political structure and system and framework that we have now, to vest something as important in one man with very little levels of accountability, this is something that we need to rethink. There has to be a collegial ownership and accountability of our minerals. Then we also have the situation where the Act 703 says that all mining concessions must have a carried interest by the state. We know that there are some mining concessions in this country which do not have the 10% carried interest prescribed by the Act, and this must change. If you go to the same Mining and Mineral Act, you can see clearly that flowing from the fantastical powers given to the president from the Constitution, the Act also gives a lot of power to the minister. The minister is doing this, the minister is signing concession, the minister is approving this. This is not sustainable in our current state. If in the future we are able to put in place a lot of accountability mechanisms, then maybe we can trust the minister because he will be held accountable properly. But the state that we are in now, if we continue without changing some of these laws, we are going to have a serious problem with our laws. Then we have also seen the new enactments that have been done, and this is where the immediate problems stems from. First of all, the Minerals Act provides for small-scale mining. It even provides for cooperative mining in the Section 82. But we have seen that the idea of small-scale mining, that idea, and this is where I say I disagree with the use of the word galamsey. That word must be retired. Its service purpose is gone. Where we are now, we are talking about illegal and irresponsible mining. The laws that we have amended and agreed for and allowed for small-scale mining, the small-scale mining, when you hear galamsey, we know it's illegal. But when you hear the galamsey, in your mind, it's people holding pickaxes and shovels and things, digging and washing and going home with few nuggets. But the small-scale mining, which has been interchangeably used for galamsey, because this is what has happened. When some of us started fighting years ago that Ghanaians are not benefiting since the neoliberal reforms in the 80s, are not benefiting from our gold, so we should have local participation. Then from a dangerous place, the local participation has been taken over by patronage. And that patronage is where this small-scale mining comes in. The patronage says that, okay, we want locals to come in, but instead of going through a very rigorous process, let's designate something as small-scale mining and community mining. That designation now removes a lot of regulatory oversight from these people. And now we are allowing them, using the law and the regulations, to go into forest, capture water resources, and destroy it without proper regulation. So this is the one of the immediate root causes that we are seeing. And this must change. This must change immediately, because the small-scale mining is not a shovel and pickaxe matter. It is now heavy machinery, use of a lot of water resources. It's an industrial scale operation. Even the community mining, which we are being told is, oh, some few chiefs and the youth are, no. That the minimum concession for community mining, according to the community mining manual released by the minister, is 25 acres. 25 acres is not a small piece of land. 25 is a big, this is a large scale operation. So this misnomer of labeling something as small scale mining and calling something galamsey, so that galamsey, we know why they are calling galamsey. The galamsey is because most of the people who are doing the small things are being called galamsey do not have concessions. But we know that these concessions are expensive things. So your average guy who was a farmer cannot afford to acquire a concession. He doesn't have the technical, he doesn't have the financial to go, and even the introductory to some big places, corridors of power, to acquire concessions. And also, we know that they are also using chemicals, dangerous chemicals in these places. These are not the things that we call galamsey. Now, if we want to call anything galamsey, it should be dangerous, irresponsible, and illegal mining, which is being practiced by people who have concessions. Mining by its nature is invasive of the ecology and the environment. Mining by its nature, you have to turn over a large piece of land, dig scrape off the vegetation. You have to dig heaps of earth, wash it a lot of water to be able to get the gold. This is not something you take lightly to say, oh, they are small scale mining so they can go and mine. No. So most of them are doing the irresponsible and illegal mining. If there's anything to be called galamsey, they are also galamsey. This is not something that we can allow to continue. We must immediately take steps to roll back this legal and legislative changes that is destroying. And my colleagues here have mentioned it. The LI 2462, that is also called the Mining in Forest Reserve LI. I mean, how does it sound to a normal human being who loves his country, that we want to pass a law to allow for mining in forest reserve? There was a time back that I was involved in some advocacy or some action on mining, and they were going to give Ajendua Forest Reserve, which is the eastern region. That is the source of about 3 water bodies, including the Densu that supplies water to Accra. When we went there, they were going to give the reserve to Newmont in 2006. When we went there, we interacted with the communities around the forest reserve. What we were told is that even to fetch firewood, harmless firewood from those forests was prohibited. And if you are caught by the forest guards, you will be dealt with. Now, we have passed the law to not just allow people to go and mine. They should just go and cut out the tree, dig the earth, and destroy the earth totally. Our ecology, our water source, our biodiversity, destroy it totally. And this is a law that we have allowed to be passed. So this is the legislative and legal route for what is happening. That is a superstructure. That is the thing that is underneath the belly. Those are the things that need to change immediately. Then we also have the enforcement failure. The enforcement failure that I can describe is that, I mean, the fight against galamsey has really exposed the underbelly, the soft underbelly of this state. We are a very weak state, And the weakness is not because we have weak men, but we have a weak system of government and a weak accountability mechanisms. All our state institutions can easily be taken over by a few unscrupulous people and turn it around to do the worst things against the interests of the country. What we can see is that there are videos where army of the Republic of Ghana, this army that was sent to Congo to go and defend other African countries, one of our proudest moments as a nation. This army are there in the video guarding mining in forest reserves. And the people that went there to confront them were beaten up, including the brave journalists from Joy FM, beating up, their cameras were destroyed, their vehicles were vandalized. The army of the Republic of Ghana, who are supposed to be trained and used to defend our territorial integrity. What territorial integrity are they defending in the forest reserve, in the belly of the forest reserve, guarding foreigners destroying our forests? And this is the failure. That picture is ever burned in my memory. That picture is it shows the failure of our enforcement. We can also see the various reports, and I'm also proud. I want to mention and salute Professor Frimpong Boateng, who gracefully was part of one of our programs to honor Nkrumah last year. He came and gave a very brilliant speech, and he has shown himself to be a patriot, and we all have to learn an example from him. Even if you are part of a group and that group is doing something bad, gather the courage to point it out. Posterity will judge you rightly. Maybe your colleagues who are doing the wrong thing will crucify you, but the posterity will really mention your name in the gold of write your name in the letters of gold. So the enforcement has failed. We have seen how people who were asked to go and enforce against illegal mining ended up stealing gold, maiming people, and doing all sorts of things. And then we also see how selectively, at the highest echelons, as my colleagues have mentioned, some of the powerful people in Ghana are defending mining in forest reserve, destroying our water bodies, all because that this enforcement is not meant necessarily to stop the whole menace, but it is meant to be used selectively to allow some people to do the wrong thing. Then we also have the issue of, I want to mention this. You see, the issue of the cocoa and our crops having residues, and we are in the danger of having our cocoa banned from international markets. It's something that's been going on, and we are at a danger. In fact, if you take even though we get a lot of, we are supposed to get a lot of foreign exchange from gold, but overall, in terms of its integration into the economy, mining is basically an enclave economy kind of business. But cocoa goes all the way from the top to the bottom. Almost everybody in the cocoa sector or economy benefits. Now, the cocoa that we are destroying by mining the gold mindlessly is going to, how do you call it? It's going to deprive us as a nation of the livelihoods of thousands and thousands of people who depend on cocoa. We are also hearing from the people who export vegetables and fruits that their products are being rejected in international market because there are elevated levels of dangerous chemicals like mercury and arsenic within the fruits. And these are some of the things that we need to really address. Now, what is the way forward? I mean, great. The way forward is that, first of all, we are proposing that, from the Socialist Movement of Ghana, we have a platform, and the platform is basically, we are not competing for this election, we are not a political party. So the platform says that on natural resource governance, first of all, that resource is a generational resource. It's not just for today, and that resource also interferes with the use of other things like the ecology and other resources. So that resource must be used in a regulated manner. We can't have regulation. Then we also have national ownership, because minerals is one of the places where the neoliberal cannot even go, that open market, that private enterprise. The gold is a collective resource, so the collective resource must be owned and managed collectively. Then we are also thinking that the idea of naming something as galamsey or small scale mining, we have to change it. What we have to change is that all mining is mining, and mining is dangerous to the economy. Dangerous to the environment. Because of that, it must be regulated heavily, whether it is mined by small people on 25 hectare or on 500 kilometer concession. It must be regulated. We also cannot say that everywhere in Ghana where gold appears, we can mine it. So we are calling for the production of an extractive zoning map of Ghana to show where the minerals are, but also to show where it is prohibited, even if we have the best minerals and gold there. Those places are off limits. It shouldn't be. And we are also saying that these places will include the water bodies and their riparian buffers, which could be up to 1 kilometer or 2 kilometers from those major rivers, so that we don't starve ourselves of water. Then we are also saying that all the forest reserves should be exclusive. No mining should take place there. They should also take steps that where economic activity is in terms of farming and cocoa production should be excluded from all this mining. Let's not forget that the cutting down of cocoa trees for mining didn't start with galamsey, as we call it, or small scale mining. It started long ago when we started mining open cast, when the big mining companies came in, but they paid compensation. We can't do that. It's not everywhere gold appears that we should mine. That is a very, very, very bad idea to have. That even if today we find the most precious minerals under the earth of Accra, are we saying we are going to dig up the whole Accra just to mine those resources? No. So there should be places exclusive from mining. There are other proposals on cooperatives and things, but because of the time limit, I'm sure there will be time later on to just pick on it. But I want to say something small about a new conversation that is forming publicly. The conversation is saying that, the mining conversation has now been politicized. We're in an election season. So in Ghana, in election season, we have to put everything within the spectrum of elections. So we are saying that, we should, and I've heard some civil society people come along and say that. They said, we should all sit down and have a pact, so that next year, whoever comes to power will come and implement and stop the illegal and irresponsible mining. I completely don't share that. First of all, what we are saying is that if indeed those in authority and power are afraid to lose the vote, and they really, really want a pact to change the narrative, what we are suggesting is that instead of a pact to promise to do it, why not a pact to start doing it now? So this is the proposal on the table. The proposal is that, we should sign a pact to fight it, and also a joint program of action and a joint administrative, political, and organizational leadership for the fight. So if we are calling all political actors, all movement and groups like my SMG, all civil society, the trade unions, to come and sign a pact for next year, no. Why don't we sign a pact so that from today, this grouping will form a leadership, and that leadership and joint group will have the political and administrative oversight of the Mineral Commission, the Forestry Commission, Lands Commission, which are directly involved in mining, so that they can start work today. We can't wait till tomorrow or even 2025 to start fighting this menace. That committee should act now, and that committee should be jointly controlling and politically giving direction to the operations of the military and the army and the police that is going to do the fighting on the Galamsey. This is the real part that is needed, that if they really mean it, that they want the Ghanaians to really support them to fight. This is the proposal on the table. This is a challenge to them. If they really want us to fight this problem, there should be a joint action, not a joint pact to promise to do it tomorrow. A joint action that is going to be, so all the people who are supposed to come and sign, they are signing and going to do something right now, because we cannot wait.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Comrade Kwesi Adakwa is a member of the Socialist Movement of Ghana, and we'll conclude the conversation with me, your boy, Annan, who has actually been raising questions about, and if you are privileged to follow him or you have his WhatsApp number and watch his status, he's really been talking about Nanado's track record. How can the demonstrator be preventing demonstrations? But anyway, a few comments before I come to you, Tani Moisa says, it appears that our courts have now lowered the bar of implementing their rules to suit the wish of President Akufo-Addo, the so-called human rights activist and lawyer, and a protester himself is now behaving like a tyrant towards his co-protesters. It's so disheartening. Hashtag justice for democracy are protesters. Hashtag democracy under siege, and another hashtag. Thank you. Amenyavi Steven is also saying that some comment says, if a whole government can change a law to allow Wontumi mine in our forest, how can somebody tell me government is not complicit in this Galamsey menace? Akufo-Addo and Bawumia are neck deep in the degradation of our water in forest. Thank you. Eric Koku Stephanie says, the Constitutional Review Committee must incorporate a review of our minerals and its mining. Alasan Hamdan says, the recent police violence against democracy have peaceful demonstrators and the government orders is troubling, especially in a nation led by a president who is a lawyer. Ghanaians' constitutional rights have been abused, and we urge the international community to intervene to prevent future violence. If the state continues its oppressive tactics, protesters may feel forced to defend themselves, potentially leading to serious security issues. Immediate action is needed to protect democratic freedoms and prevent further conflict. There's also Eric again who comes and says, our national security must be ashamed of themselves for their involvement in this Galamsey menace, crucifying our collective existence to satisfy their parochial greed. Samuel Ama says, on the issue of the arrest and detention of protesters to Galamseyers whose actions have destroyed our water bodies, my question is, which is more dangerous to the life of human beings? Is the alleged damage to some state properties or the destruction to our water bodies? I send that from Santa Maria. Abdul Salam Rufai, President Nana Akufo-Addo stated that he's putting his presidency on the line to fight Galamsey. There's Gafaro Jan Tondaboshi says, Ghana is sinking under this current administrations, and I encourage all Ghanaians to vote number 8. Me?
Let me thank God that your voice. What else would he knows best? Let me greet comrades here, and viewers out there. I think we've done justice to this topic. I think we discussed it some weeks back. But I will want to look at all this from another angle altogether. Look, I think my sister here mentioned it, and then gentleman just next to me also mentioned it, that gradually we are being kicked out of the international market in terms of food production. Our cocoa is going to suffer it, if not already suffering the adverse menace of illegal mining. Now, what this means is that, look, people are going to change their appetite. And this is not just about people importing from Ghana, but ourselves. those who have the purchasing power would go to shops where tomatoes are brought from South Africa, and because the South African people are not destroying their environment like we are doing, we may want to go and buy their tomatoes, their peppers, their cabbages and all that. And that is the new phenomenon if you go out there to our shops, because I never saw our women in shops like multi-stores back then. Our mothers were not going to multi-stores. They were going to the Katamantons, the Salaga markets, the London market and all that to buy foodstuffs. But because of what is going on, we have shifted tastes to those imported vegetables in terms of cooking. What it means is that we will need more foreign currencies to actually bring those items in, and largely our agricultural sector is going to face a total collapse. This is one of the dangers. But it also seems to me that from what is going on, I think we just don't care. We just don't care because the reward in terms of gold is way more than what our great produce will give us. But is it to the benefit of the state, or is it because of its benefit to our individual selves? I think that the benefits is more towards our individual selves, and therefore we really don't care. I assume if you mine illegally and you obtain gold illegally, then you would have sold it illegally and you would have received the revenues illegally as well. What it means is that the gold dug out illegally is also exported out of this country illegally. And the proceeds in terms of the foreign currencies do not hit the Bank of Ghana's account. And if that is what is happening, and I know that is what is happening, I know foreigners do come into this country without license, they buy huge sums of gold and they take it out. How are they able to do that? Yet we do not allow people to do same when it comes to cocoa. It is restricted. It is controlled by the Cocoa Board. We have precious minerals here that is also supposed to control the importation or the exportation of gold. Our oil, the same, is regulated. It is reported on. But nobody reports on gold to us, apart from Bank of Ghana's own annual reports stating how much gold we were able to export, what we got, and then that is it. Now the gold we mine, what we exported, where was it coming from? Because we need to know. Even this recent currency called Bitcoin, when it is mined, you know where the miner is. You know who owns it. When it is sold, you know who have bought and who sold. The proceeds, the price is known. What of us here? Do we know who is accounting to us? It is a mineral resources belonging to Ghana and its people, only vested in the president. So yes, if the law says that the minerals are vested in the president, it is vested so on our behalf. It is not his private property. It was not for his father or mother. And therefore, we should look at this thing again. I believe that maybe the judges who sit in our courts have enough dispensable income to avoid going to our Mokola market for foodstuffs and go to the first class shopping malls to buy foodstuffs. And therefore they will sought to put young men and women behind bars for 2 weeks just to do what? Put the fear of God in them. Make sure they don't behave in that manner again. Crack them down. Look, demonstrations did not start today, especially in Ghana. And if anyone cares to know, even under the British, there were demonstrations. What led to the 28th February shooting? That subsequently led to the looting. That subsequently engineered our democracy and our independence. So we all here, the democracy we enjoy came out of the struggle, protests and demonstrations of others who even lost their lives. It was not their fathers who lost their lives. But those people, why not, have been pushed to the background. He, President Akufo-Addo, he is the greatest beneficiary of protests and demonstrations in this country. Apart from organizing press conferences under Champions government and all that, what has he really done? What propelled him? What shot him up so much is the Kumi Preku demonstration, which as a very young man I witnessed, because back then we lived at Kolwoko, a close proximity to where all the action happened around the UTC area. We saw how quickly some of them ran away. We saw it. And for what? For that? Today, you who protested so much about VAT came in to increase VAT, split it into levies and VAT, cascaded the tax, so tax on tax, so that we will not recognize that you have again imposed an increment on VAT. This is the man under his watch. People are being arrested. Look, people should go and listen to what Nanado then said about the crackdown. People should go and listen to him. People should listen to him before 2016. What he said when Gabi was giving whips. People should go listen to them. I am not saying that it has never happened under any other government. It has always happened. Even in the advanced jurisdictions, we have seen crackdown of protest. But I want to sound this warning to every Ghanaian that we have a certain culture since the colonial times, that when the Ghanaian protests and you crack the Ghanaian down, they move into civil defiance. And that is why no one respects the rules. That is why our people will always fail to pay their taxes. That is why we struggle so much, and every year we will hear government saying that we want to widen the tax net, yet we are not able, because that is a civil defiance to the nonsense that keeps going on. That even a judge should rule that every demonstration is a possible violence and all that, and therefore go and seek this permission and that permission. The law, the constitution never said anyone should go for permission before organizing a demonstration. If we want to change the constitution, let's change it. Let's be bold and change it. But I don't see how today we have militarized our police, yet cannot fight galamsey or illegal mining. Yet our police is everywhere, and they see people breaking law, and they are not able to protect the state that pays them. It has to take young men and women to protest, and for them to militarize themselves with all sorts of weapons fully loaded on them to go and stop protesters who were unharmed. I did not see the protesters throwing petrol bombs. And if you tell me that maybe they were, I disagree with Solo. I was listening to Solo, that some of their behaviors were who told you that protest is about going and walking like a gentleman and all that. That is not protest. That is not. It is even. I mean, it is not. It is even on the. They are charitable.
I disagree with
they are charitable, and I'm also telling you that protest is not for you to go. Why do we protest? In the 1700s, when people were protesting in Europe, why were they protesting? If it is about a walk that we want to organize, we always organize walks. We always do dawn trottings. Do we go and inform the police? I'm asking. We don't. What we do by protesting is to make sure that it hits the core of whatever we are protesting against. It has to cause some discomfort. Yes, people in traffic will feel that discomfort, and that is how you raise the awareness for those issues you want to drive home. I don't think it is church possession. My friend, the judges have said that, or our courts have said that it is a possible violence all protests may end up in some form of violence, but this did not end up in any violence. The people were not violent. If they decided to play football to indicate that yes, our forests have become a park, a galamsey pitch that they can play football on, they are free to do that. Protest is protest. I am not supposed to do what you like. Let's get it straight in this country. And protest will not stop because of this crackdown. It will come on and come on. But I'm saying that these things that we do gradually is leading to something one day. It will blow in our faces and nobody will be able to bring it back. Look, we were here. We saw how Egypt, and its leaders kind of treats the people in there. It took just one man to put himself on fire, and we all saw what happened. Let us not assume that the Ghanaian is docile, and all the time we will take that opportunity to mistreat ourselves and come back and say we are all one people. We are not one people in this country. We have tribes that are better than tribes in this country. We have certain class that are better than other class in this country. We have laws that do not protect all of us the same way, protect some people better than they do to others in this country. Yet, when the president is asked to swear his oath of office, he would say, and they do it unknowingly, passively. They take it for a joke and say that they will do good to all manner of people. And they come into power and they see others as humans and others as animals. That is what this country is all about. Are we not able to say it to ourselves? Because we all want to pretend. The only reason we cannot stop Galamsey, because it benefits a certain class in this country. My hometown in Gamashi, they cannot afford excavators. They don't have a land that has gold. Yet, their lands have been taken over and used for the purposes of running the administration of this country without even compensations. Others, they have their land, which has gold, and they are digging. When the law says that it belongs to all of us, that I do not get any benefit out of what is going on there, and they flaunt their wealth in my face as well, and they are protected by the state and the militarized police. They are protected by our courts, because others do it and go free. We have seen it. And then you tell us that in this country we are all together, we are all one people. We are not one people. We are all not together. We have those the state protects. We have those the state recognizes as humans. And we have those the state recognizes us as animals, not worthy of being part of this nation. That is the divide we have been preaching. Our judges staying in the US, they are here with us. They know what goes on. Are the police saying that they don't know what is going on? Our intelligence structure of this country don't know what is going on. Then what are we paying them for? Don't tell me there is a solution of sitting down about this and talking about it. There is no solution in talking about it. It is not a project that we have to sit down and discuss it. It must be stopped. We have the capacity to stop it. We have the capacity to crack it down like we cracked down the protesters. And have put them in bars and behind bars. We have that capacity. It's an insult for anyone to suggest again that we should use the resources of this country to engage somebody on how to solve Galamsey. That's the biggest insult I keep hearing. When we have people who are mandated to protect this state, to protect the resources of this state. What did we hear recently? The Bank of Ghana is going to issue gold coins. Maybe they are not buying the gold outside again, so they want to sell it to us. Every Ghanaian should reject that. No Ghanaian should invest his penny in those gold, because I don't know the source of the gold. We don't know the source of the gold. These are the illegal ones, mine, or these are the ones mined legally. What is BOG coming to sell to us? What is Addison talking about in terms of the gold coin that will be put on the market? Oh, the young man who was taken down, the man who was selling gold, what was his name? They have taken Nam1. Okay, so Addison have taken lessons from Nam1. He wanted to, and he wants to sell gold to us.
You will get users to give me the name.
Right? In 2000 and I think 2021, I had an interview and I said, look, Ghanaians, we should start trading in gold. Here. I had said that. I did not mean that we should trade in illegal gold, because I bet my last penny, whatever gold BOG will be selling, if they are not able to tell us the source of those gold, which mining firm is producing those gold, then I dare say this is the Wound to me and others, they are illegal mine gold that is going to be sold to Ghanaians. And everyone should reject it. No one should buy the gold. Anyone who buys those golds is encouraging illegal mining of our water bodies and forests, the destruction of our environment. That is going to cause us to demand more dollars or foreign currencies to import food and water into this country when we have arable lands to grow the same food. When we have enough water body to produce good water. This thing is too serious to be left in the hands of jokers we find at the Flagstaff House. They are a bunch of jokers. What have we not seen? What have we not seen? People who were taking bribes, who were involved in Galamsey when they were supposed to crack it down. And they did not go behind bars for 2 weeks. No judge found that prudent to do that to them. Yet, young men and women, old ladies, 65 or so, we found a need to charge them. We are not even ashamed as a nation that we have gotten to this level. Most of them, politicians today, are politicians and respected, and they have earned everything they have because they became politicians, not because they have any profession to work. Based on demonstrations they led from schools. Those who benefited so much from demonstrations are the ones prepared to jail men, women, old ladies, because of protest. Non-violence protest. We should be ashamed of ourselves. The president, if I am the president, I'll be so ashamed to resign. Look, there should be a protest in this country that will not end till Akufo-Addo resigns. Because he, without any inducement, without any push, said, I am prepared to put my presidency on the line. Ghanaians have every right to put themselves at the Flagstaff House till he resigns. He put his presidency on the line. And if you have failed, you should be a man enough, and excuse my words, you should have balls to say, I have failed. I know he doesn't have balls, but he should have balls to say, I have failed. And I am ashamed that under my watch, with my stature and what I represent in the past, I feel so ashamed that, look, I want to resign so that the little dignity left with me, I can take it home. After all, the road to his hometown is being constructed, so he can move very fast to Chebi. And anytime we need him in Accra, he can drive fast back and leave the rest of his life left for him with his grandchildren, and at least with the shame and the little regrets. I know he doesn't have much regrets because he's never the person we all thought he was. It is so bad if you look at the records, what was said about this man in the international media some years back and what is happening today. I am surprised that we voted Nanado into power and we were given another Nanado as the president.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much, Ni. That concludes our very first conversation on the issue of the democracy at protest and the Galamsey menace. Let me do a few comments from YouTube. I'll do a few more. Then I'll start this time around with Louisa on the matter of the voters register. This is from Emmanuel Agbeve, who says Ghana is in serious trouble. Soon no one is going to buy food from Ghana. Lawal Abakar says, I think we should let the leaders know that we are fighting not only illegal mining but also irresponsible mining and exploitation. You see, Vidui Sena, where from this lady who just spoke? Where was she all this while? Tell her I like her submission, and we in the NDC like women like her. Kudos. There's Gamo Heyman David Kobler, who says, good morning. And I'm watching live from Walter Region, Georgia, and the Curtin of Municipality, and also listening live on Denyigba Radio. Oh, okay. We are live on Denyigba Radio. Good morning to everybody at Denyigba Radio. And thank you very much for picking the feed live. And of course, we are live on many other radio stations across the country. Seidu says, it appears many discussants are abreast with modern environmental activism. Protest stands are a major part of environmental activism. Indeed, children are now heavily involved in environmental activism globally, perhaps influenced by Greta Thunberg, the Swedish environmentalist. Nowhere has peaceful protest without stands on the streets ever achieved any results. In the West, you find activists glue themselves onto the streets, spray planes with paints, chain themselves to buildings. Which is more dangerous, polluting our water bodies or stands on the streets? Let's not be too conservative. That's Seidu. Seidu, thank you very much for the comment. There's Tafari Namanya who says, there's no way government that benefited from Galamsey and it continues to use Galamsey money for their campaign will end the unprecedented destruction of our rivers and vegetation. So now, this country is sinking faster than bushfires, and we need a good leader to reset this country back to normal. Therefore, I appeal to Ghanaians to back them for our future prosperity. Thank you very much. Afai Namra here who send that message. Hadi in Pig Farm says, good morning. Protesters arrested and sent to prison for 2 weeks under a so-called human rights lawyer as our president. Mother Ghana is finished under this super incompetent and substandard, create, loot and share family and friends president. President Nando is the only president who has disappointed the past, disappointed the present and disappointed the future. Surely, the Nanado Bawumia government will forever remain the biggest disappointment of the Fourth Republic of our dear nation. History will judge them and they will go down in history as failures. Thank you for that one. Hamza in Pig Farm is also sending a message. Hamza says, my brother, did you see the number of policemen and women who were sent to manhandle the demonstrators? The question there is, why can't the same number of policemen be sent to protect our forest reserves and water bodies? Go to Enyinam in the eastern region and see things for yourself. Just at the back of the police station, Galamsey is taking place there, right in the face of the police. The brutalities meted out to these demonstrators is totally unacceptable and must be condemned by all thinking Ghanaians. My brother, read the fourth estate document on Galamsey and you cry for this country. In any case, my brother, help me out. Where is the whereabouts of the 500 excavators that were seized and kept under the supervision of the security agencies? God have mercy. Nana says, and the question that there are no jobs, so if you drive them from the rivers and forests, how do they survive, is highly flawed. 1. What do the youth of non-Galamsey areas live on? 2. After the Galamsey menace, what next when the rivers, forests, etc. are no more? The proposal of joint pact on Galamsey is just like signing a pact with armed robbers. Well, I think it's commenting on what Comrade Adakwa said. There's also this one says, good morning. I'm surprised that civic-minded Ghanaians are sitting now and waiting for 7 December in order to vote Akufo-Addo and MPP out of power. How should a society treat a son who rapes and robs his own mother? That's exactly what Akufo-Addo and his medieval family have done to our motherland. They have violated the constitution, the directive principle of state policy, breached all principles of natural justice and those principles relating to the rule of law and good governance. They have also corrupted the whole society while engaging in widespread state capture. Akufo-Addo has particularly violated his oath of office as well as his own promises. Ghanaians everywhere must rise up and demand his resignation even before December. He is very unfit to even stay in power till 7 December for superintending over such colossal nation-wrecking endeavor contrary to what he was elected to do. Those are just some of the comments. I'll go through some more as we go along in the show. But we need to move on to another discussion. If you just join us, this is the mother of all talk shows, Alhaji and Alhaji, live on Pan-African Television, live on Radio Gold, and of course live on many other affiliate stations across the country, live on Facebook, Pan-African Television, YouTube, Pan-African Television. Do join us and do comment on the discussion we are having. Like I said, I'll start with Louisa on the response they finally got into the electoral commission to the protest they held. They held a demonstration asking for a forensic audit of the register. When she is done, I'll come to Solomon also, because they have now also issued a statement. But Louisa, you do have 10 minutes to comment on this issue.
It is not surprising at all for me that Jane Mensah will take the stance that she has taken with her commission. You see, I've always maintained a certain stance that when you go to the table of equity, you should do so with clean hearts. Jane Mensah, as the IEA boss, was somebody who has stood for forensic audit to uphold the tenets of integrity, fairness in elections. So the issues that we are talking about as a political party that we presented to the EC, they were very simple. And the EC admitted to these discrepancies. It is not as if we spoke in a vacuum. So I have heard a lot of people from the other side talk in the media space that NDC did not provide any evidence also. So what did the EC admit to? If they didn't see any form of evidence, if we didn't give them any form of exhibition of the issues, discrepancies we are talking about, what did they admit to? So the issues we are talking about, over 243,000 transfers of bloated transfers are issues we spoke about. Over 15,000 transfers that we do not know the paths. If we talk about it this way, what we are saying is, if I go and register as a polling center, my credentials are taken, I am a registered voter. So if I want to transfer, they should be able to identify that, for instance, I registered as Achimota School A, polling station A, and I want to transfer to, let's say, La Paz Methodist School, polling station B. If anybody picks this transfer list or whatever there is, the person should be able to know that I registered at Achimota and I'm transferring to La Paz. But over 15,000 transfers have been made and we do not know where they were registered. So these are issues that have dire consequences on our electoral processes. And then we are talking about transfers that were illegally made. If I want to transfer my vote, as I indicated earlier, I, as the individual transferring, should be in the known. And I have to do so from my own free will. Probably issues known to me on election day, I may not be available at this point. Maybe I registered in Ashanti region. Due to work, I have now moved with my family to the Greater Accra. So I cannot go back there to vote. Probably on election day, I may have some restrictions. So let me transfer my vote here. As an individual, I should know that I'm transferring and I should apply for a transfer. But this is the case that individuals who have been transferred don't even know they have been transferred. And names that were in the voters register in 2023, some have been deleted and we do not know where they are. And others too are corrupted files. So you open the register, there is no picture, there is no name, there is no date of birth, no voter ID. The file shows as corrupted file. So on election day, if I walk to the center to go and vote, and my details are corrupted, how do they ascertain that I am a registered voter in that polling station? So these are the issues we raised. And EC admitted to these discrepancies by citing the Pusiga example. So in Pusiga, people were transferred without their knowledge of being transferred. And the EC tells us that they have fired their officer in Pusiga because of the illegalities that he committed. And one key thing that we have always spoken about and shouted in this fight for a forensic audit of our voter register is that if I, as an officer of EC, I sit somewhere in an office, maybe in the Ashanti region, in the Western region, is it that I can go into the system, the database at my own free will? Anytime that I want, I will just open the database. If I so want to cause any changes, I'll cause any changes. If I want to cause any transfers, I'll cause any transfers. So it depends on the mood of the officer. The credibility of our voter register, should it be subjected to the mood of a election officer at a particular district office. It shouldn't be so. Somebody should give authorization for anybody entering into the system. And where is that authorization coming from? It's coming from the head office. So if EC tells us that somebody sat in Pusiga, did transfers all throughout, who gave such an individual the authorization into the database? That is another question. Because if we do not conduct a forensic audit, these are the pathways that we have seen. What of the others that have not come up during these processes? That is what we are talking about. This is why a forensic audit is needed. Now, the EC comes back to us and tells us that, yes, all these things you have mentioned, the discrepancies, we admit it is there, but we have corrected it. We say no wahala. We have given you a hard drive. The corrections that you have made, give us. Let us go back and check. And now they are saying they cannot give us the corrected versions of whatever they have. So what did they correct? If you do not have anything to hide, open it. So for instance, they are looking for a missing chair in a house, a compound house as we have in our local setup. And I didn't steal the chair that they are talking about that it is missing. So if they want to open various rooms and check, why will I put a padlock on my door? To resist the people from entering my room to check. I have nothing to hide. So I'll open my door for them to check because the said missing chair is not in my room. But in the case where we are looking for the missing chair, every room is open, every door is open, and then there's no chair there. And I'm saying I have not taken the chair, so why am I locking my door under lock and key? Open it and let the people check. That is all we are asking for. So she comes back to tell us that they have done the corrections, and per the constitutional instrument that mandates EC's processes, they will do another exhibition for people to go and check whether their names are there, all the illegal transfers they've corrected, the bloated transfer register from 2023 and all of that. But they will do it online. And this is where I find it amusing. Because if she wants to stick by the law as she claims that establishes the EC and their processes, then she should do so thoroughly. Now, the CI that establishes them, that we are talking about, it says for the exhibition, the commission shall cause the provisional register of voters of each polling station to be displayed for public inspection at the registration center. This is what the law says. At the registration center. So, which center is the online platform she's trying to provide? That is one with the legalities. And then the two, the digital divide. How many people in rural Ghana have access to phones? How many people even know how to use shortcodes and pins to check for things on their phones? So now we are saying that elections is the right of the Ghanaian. And it is not a process that should seek to disenfranchise people. Because if I don't have a phone to check what you are saying I should check online, then that is it. If I go there on election day and my details are not there, then I cannot vote. Surprisingly, these issues of the ECB are talking about for a forensic audit that a lot of people do not find the cohesion. Probably is a banter for NDC, and now the movement for change have joined the two of us against the EC, whatever there is. It is not. It affects the very fiber of our elections, our democracy, our peace as a people. So if I walk into a polling station now, a polling center, I want to go and vote. You know, elections are one of the things that makes a citizen a citizen. Because you cannot go and vote if you are not a citizen. So elections is what makes a citizen a citizen. In a government where citizens are not citizens, but we become second-class citizens in our own nation, elections is what makes us classify citizens. So I walk to a polling center. I mention my name. My name is not in the register. My biometrics are not there. And then now you tell me that they should use a pen and paper to write my name for me to vote. Who does that in 2024? We came, our electoral processes came way back from a certain history where we were using opaque boxes. We all sat and said we want transparency, so we should get transparent boxes. We have transparent boxes. We all said that the issues of double registration that we are seeing now, that there are double bloated lists of transfers in our register. Because of that, we introduced the biometric system so that one unique fingerprint or eyeballs is to one individual. We do not get one person registering twice or thrice as we used to. We have grown from that point to now. And you want to take us back to the 1992? Where my name is not in the register. I have to take a pen and paper and write. So what will happen on that day of election is that if I get to the center and my name is not there, there will be chaos. And how sensitive these election issues are, the little noise you make there, the security services intervene. And this is my right. I am agitated as a citizen. Before we know it, the whole place is thrown into chaos and the process is interrupted. This is what we are trying to avoid with that forensic audit now. And then our position as a political party.
And be brief on that.
We anticipated that, of course, an electoral commission that has a certain element of political intrusion. An electoral commission that has appointments of known exposed political individuals in there. They will of course not hasten to our calls because the NPP came out even with a communique to say that if the EC comes out to admit to the forensic audit, they also go out and demonstrate against the EC for doing the right thing. And now this is where the big deal lies. They said they have identified 1,000 illegal transfer in one of the constituencies of their stronghold, Ashanti region. So that alone is an admission from the NPP too that the issues that we have raised exist. So as a political party, we will fight to the core and make sure that the audit is done to bring sanity into our electoral processes, and that integrity and fairness that is the motto of the EC will forever be upheld, and no one born of an individual who is a Ghanaian and appointed and paid with the taxes of the ordinary Ghanaian will curtail the democracy of Ghana. The NDC will see to it that the right thing is done.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Louisa. Before I come to you, Ms. Owusu, this is Dugbazan's elections are referendums on the incumbent government. Now, elections don't mean anything since the EC are set in a way to rig it for the government. No doubt the government violates the constitution with impunity. So,
Sir, I believe that Jane Mensah, together with the Electoral Commission, will do us the greatest honor by refraining from issuing bogus statements. You see, I've read the response to the NDC's petition, and it's at best a joke. I don't know why she will continue to ridicule herself. You see, she must have an open mind and know that in the same way one person left the Jubilee House for another person to occupy, say the same Mukaya, Mukaba, the same thing will happen. It will happen. You can't do anything about it. This is a country that has a spirit. And when the spirit decides, that's all. See, in her own response, go to page 5. I don't know whether you have a document. Discrepancies in the voter transfer, paragraph 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm reading from paragraph 4. You say, we acknowledge that our officer in Pusika carried out 38 unauthorized transfers. The said transfers have been reversed and the officer's appointment has been terminated. For your information, our system keeps records of all transfers, including the date and time of each transfer, officers responsible for the transfer, among others. These are verifiable and stored in the voter management system. You agree that an infraction occurred. You are telling us that your system is self-correcting. So, but for the NDC telling us that these had happened, would the Electoral Commission be able to tell us? It tells you that that is not the case. Now, under the same page 5, unidentifiable and missing voter data. Listen to her carefully and you will give up. The NDC alleges that 3,957 voters previously registered were deleted from the 2024 provisional register without explanation. And listen to her. This is a bold Jane Adokoemeza speaking. We wish to state categorically that she was very sure of what she was saying, sure of everything. Listen, we wish to state categorically that the alleged missing voters have not been deleted. Fair deal. So where are they? Listen to it. They are either on the voters register. Are you listening to me? Someone who is stating something categorically, very sure, bold, she knows her facts. You see, they are either on the voters register or one of the following lists: the exceptions list, the multiples list, or the transfer. For Christ's sake, how can we have a useless? What is this? You don't even know. As we speak, the 3,957 names that the NDC is saying have been deleted. You, the Electoral Commission, you were given the petition on the 17th of September 2024. Is that not the case? It took you 9 days to respond, meaning you wanted to gather all your facts. Now you are writing to us to tell us that no, those names have not been deleted. So show us where the names are. You are now telling us, so you want us to go on a fishing expedition. They are either in the voters register, exceptional list, multiple lists, or transfer list. So which is which? And this alone, this paragraph alone, is the more reason why you need that forensic audit. She shot herself in the foot with her response. Now, I don't want, there are a lot of issues. Let me even do the last one for you to understand the integrity of the IT system. This is on page 6. The EC, listen to Jane Negero. The EC is confident in the security of its systems. So confident. The system has an audit trail that tracks all entries and modifications irrespective of how minute they are. It employs both physical and electronic access and control policies which utilize either passwords or biometrics. Now, a case in point is the transfer done by an officer in Pusiga who exploited, are you listening? Who exploited the absence of a liveliness check in voter identification and used ID photos to undertake unauthorized transfers. This is an EC boss telling us that the IT system is so robust. So robust, so robust. And you know these two words have been so common with the EC. Credible, robust. Credible, robust. Now, a robust system, we are being told that because there was an absence of a particular program, which is liveliness, it enabled the Pusiga officer to conduct those transfers. So, how can we be sure that there will not be more of these programs that are not present with the IT system? And that is why you need the audit. Now, a lot of noise going back and forth with this whole thing. So, the leader of the movement for change, my candidate, Mr. Alanchamati, decided to, as it were, settle the score or settle the matter by providing the way forward. And I believe if you read Jane Mensah's concluding remarks or going forward as her going forward message, she agrees that the National Democratic Congress, together with the general public, I believe that it should have been all the stakeholders in this election must come on the round table. What is Alan proposing? Alan is saying that, in fact, we wrote to the EC on the 23rd of September. So I believe that all that she wrote, she should have taken the cue, the advice that was given to her by Alan. Alan believes that there has to be a high-level technical working group formed. Fortunately, for now, we have 13 candidates. So we know the people that will be contesting the 2024 elections. Alan's proposal is that get at least a member or two from all these candidates, their representatives. If the candidates themselves cannot have the time, their representatives. into a working group. And that working group will be chaired by the EC itself. Because you see, the EC has been hiding under Article 46 that the NDC wants to take its independence from it. So Alan say, no, we won't take it from you. Let us have a working group chaired by you so that you are still playing your role as the EC. Now, this technical group, we must also add the consultants that manage the data. They will also be part of it. Now, this working group will then decide the process or the procedure for auditing the register. And that the foundation for the auditing, or in the course of the auditing, or as part of their work, the EC must make available the 2020 final voter register, limited registrations that are taking place from or since 2021, transfers that have taken place since 2021, and special voters list since 2020. The originals must be made available to all the committee members. Now, beyond that, Alan is saying, look, any interested party within this working group, that is the political parties and independent, can, as well as civil society organizations who have seen or identified any anomaly with the voter register, write it and submit it to this working group. Make it available to all so that we all go through it. The EC must also help the working group as to how, or facilitate as to how entries into the register have been done. Now, when all of this, all these things are done, the outcome or the product that will be produced will be the final register. This, you don't need any Solomon in Israel or Jerusalem not to accept. Because Jane Mensah herself agrees that provincial registers cannot be incident-free. In fact, she believes that provincial voter registers are always, there is a reason why we do voter exhibitions. That's not the case. So on what basis is she saying that she has dealt with all the problems with the register? Because as we speak, we don't have the final register. So there could be problems in there. And what is her problem? Why is she running away from audit? Now she tells us that, you know, the Electoral Commission has a high level credibility in the eyes of the world. So if we decide to do forensic audit, what we are telling the world is that they are not working very well. And what does that mean? Who is the world? Are we not part of the world? In 2015, when we were saying that the register has to be audited, didn't you know that Ghana had a good name? In fact, it took you as a woman to go and depose a fellow woman. They say women are their own enemies. She immediately took her out and replaced her. So the long and short of it is that Alan has offered the solution, and on Tuesday there will be an IPAC meeting. We would be there. The Electoral Commission has no business whatsoever, and mind you, they shouldn't try anything funny. Now I heard them say that time is running. No, there is no time running. We have a lot of time. No, there is a lot of time to deal with this matter. That is the only assurance to the new patriotic party that they can get 30% of election 2024. Because they know, my former people, they know that once the audit is done, 13% straight. And Alan will be your president come 2024. But let me also say that last one, on the 11th of November, we are doing Operation End the Foolishness. It's a matter of 4 demonstrations. We are not going to be on the street. We are entering the forest. We are in the Galamsey. That is where the battle will be. There, if the police wants to join them, they should come into the bush.
I see.
They should come into the bush.
Mr. Also, thank you. This is Kojotumba. I have voted at Engelbert School since 1996.
In 2020, when I got to the polling station, my name was not found in the register. I was told to go and check other polling stations. I found my name finally at Jack and Jill. Can you imagine? That's how they select and disenfranchise NDC voters. This practice, repeated across the 40,000 polling stations, disenfranchises several NDC voters. Commander Dakwa.
Yes, whenever it's election, I mean, we know that tensions rise up. And one of the things that those of us who have a certain outlook on governance and politics, where we transition away from this whole framework, what we do is to see, maybe we don't have to wait until election year before we start thinking about how to reform our institutions. So I'll be real quick and to say that this is basically because the governance system we are running is, I mostly refuse to call it democracy. This is a competitive electoral politics, where if you win, you get the chance to control a lot of power, a lot of wealth, a lot of authority. You appoint, basically it's more like a chance for you to show how despotic you can become by appointing everybody into government. So what we need really is, how do we think in the long term to have the word that my brother used, robust, but a robust system of having institutions that actually work. We have seen that in politics, politics is basically contest for power by other means, not through war, but by other means. And people will use every rule in the book and outside the book to win. So how do we prevent it? The idea that we can have an arbiter or a referee that doesn't have any sense of attachment to the appointing body is very, very, difficult to fathom. But the solution basically is to think about how to reform the Electoral Commission. Because in some countries, the Electoral Commission is made up of a collegial system where those who are involved in the elections are right there as commissioners. So all the parties that are contesting have a stake in organizing and governing the election. And this would have made it easier for people around the table who are participating in the election, say that, okay, let us do this to safeguard the integrity of the election. And then also, how do we ensure that there's accountability on in the body that has been put in place to manage the election? What we have now is that we have the Constitution saying they are independent, but the levers of accountability are also lopsided. I always say that whenever we say the judiciary is independent and impartial, I say that is a very wrong view to take. Everybody has their interest. Everybody have their own agenda. So the only thing is accountability. And we hope that this request that has been made to the Electoral Commission, they will see the sense in it and do the things that will bring openness and accountability to the matter, so that we the people can actually decide who we want to rule us. Senna.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. I think I have to, because this comment has consistently come from one particular person who's watching us currently. I keep jumping the comment. But since we're talking about elections, I'm trying to now locate that comment and read some to you, because there's not more than one comment he sent in relation to that. Raymond Andre Padushkas. Do you know that name? Okay. Sesena. Anybody who matters in the NDC should pay close attention to the Dodio constituency. The parliamentary candidate is not visible and losing the seat to MPP. Mahama needs that seat. But then, this one says NDC is losing the Dodio constituency seat. The parliamentary candidate is not visible at all in the constituency. The Don, please help. Mahama needs that seat.
You remember we did Alhaji and Alhaji there?
I do.
A candidate like the Don. They voted, they said they disqualified him. LEC.
Well, I think some of these comments are based on, I don't know what to say, ignorance. Look, nobody today in Ododo can say that he supports party people more than I do in Ododo. My scholarship scheme is targeted directly at members of our party. Recently, I organized a branch, I financed the entire branch inauguration of one of our branches that even sitting MPs attended. I single-handedly financed all. I don't know what people expect of me, the victim. I don't know whether they expect me to be in the house of the parliamentary candidate early in the morning, breastfeed him, make sure he's ready, take him out to the people to campaign. In Ododo, all you need to do is to be feasible. And you need to be the people's person. That is all. That I cannot do for anybody. And I don't see or know where they are getting their information from. The PC is in high spirits, and he says that he would win. So when people go around saying that we are losing the seat, he's losing the seat and all that, where are they getting their information from? I think these things are just being said out there and put out there by the same detractors who were all over saying all sorts of things about me. Today they are saying something different again. So what do they expect me from? If any time I get onto the grounds, I may outshine anybody. And that will be misinterpreted as also spoiling somebody's candidate. So what really do people expect me to do? I just want to understand. Is anybody saying in Ododo today that how I'm able to support party people, medical? I have a scheme where people go to the Kolebu Teaching Hospital with their eye issue, because we have a lot of those issues there. And I have to pick up the entire bill. Anybody in the constituency who walks up and says that I have an eye issue goes to the hospital. My office is still open. Provide assistance. I should bring the number of fees that is on my table that I have to pay for our own people. So what support are they calling for? I think that rather what I should do, and what this informs me to do, is to stop some of the things I do, so that people will realize the level of support I give to the party. It is so unfortunate when people go around ignorantly saying some of these things.
Your view on the topic, briefly.
Well, I think like the Nigerian says, Ghanaians, we like to talk and show a lot of certificates. When people migrated to Nigeria and they even want carpentry work, they go with a lot of certificate, MVT, this certificate, that certificate, and the people will say, oh, Morgana, why? It is the same thing. This is a simple issue, but we would talk about it as if it's a big issue. It is not. It's somebody just failing to do his work. Look, we all hear bank. When a transaction occurs on your account, don't you get alerts? So why can't the EC put up a system where anything that happens on the register directly goes to the political parties? Mr. A today transfer his vote from point 1 to point 2. Why shouldn't I get the alert? Why should we encumber ourselves with all these things and we'll say forensic audit and blah, 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 just because simple things that we can do very simply, we complicate everything. Let me tell you something. I vote in Ododo. In fact, I vote in a polling station called Lifestyle. Lifestyle is actually my great-grandfather's house, Tete Goldsmith house. So me, I vote in front of my house. And any time, not once, not twice, not thrice, I have gone there to vote. A lot of people comes around because I have come around to vote. So a lot of people have witnessed me voting there. Isn't that simple? That when I have not presented myself to anybody, to any office, to transfer my votes, I haven't. And nobody has that evidence that I have, or I did, present myself to an EC office to transfer my vote. And I present myself because I'm not going to check anything. And I present myself to that same polling station. And anybody born of a woman and a man tells me that my name is not in the register, look, I'm not going to write my name. I'm not going to do anything. I would vote. And if I am not able to vote, nobody in that polling station will vote. That is what all Ghanaians should do. If people will not listen to good reasoning for us to bring an end to this issue, and the EC is still recalcitrant after all the evidence shown to them, then they should expect chaos on the day of voting. Maybe that is what they want. Because I will not allow for all the pain I have been caused by this government economically, for somebody to tell me that my name is not in the register, so that I should be walking around, just going around looking for where my name is, when I have not transferred my vote. Senator, I'm not going to do that. And nobody should do that. Wherever you have been voting, wherever you registered to vote, present yourself there. If you have not transferred your vote. Because everybody who transferred his vote knew where he was, and where he is now. Every polling station has a code and a name. So you cannot tell me, for Christ's sake, that I should go looking for where my name is. I will vote where I know my name is, where I registered to vote. And if my name is not there, then the EC should tell his officials today, now, that when we get there, we will vote, whether our name is in the register or not. And when we don't know you to be part of that polling station, we will also prevent you from voting. So we are not just going to stand there or come to the polling station to actually come and cast our vote. We will be there to ensure that those we do not know at those polling stations will not present themselves for voting. And those we knew that are on that register, we will ensure that they vote, even if their names cannot be found on the register. And if that is what they call chaos, then so be it. There will be chaos. Because I just don't understand this absolute nonsense going on. That we have to talk about this for weeks. When common sense tells you that, just subject yourself to an audit. What are you afraid of? The outcome of the audit will determine that there are mistakes here, illegalities committed here and there. Let's correct them together and open books for all of us to know that, okay, this is what we all accept, and let's move forward. Look, from 2020, elections have changed in this country. If you look at the numbers carefully, on the average, one party was getting 52.58%, yet lost in terms of percentage across all the system region, and yet lost an elections. And the one who got 45 point something percent rather won an elections. So all the absolute numbers matters. The register really matters. And nobody is going to sit, watch aloof and allow you play games with us. then trust me, if you are talking about 500 people, and assuming those 500 people are all coming from different polling stations, and they may go to their various polling stations and not find their names in there, then I might say that the EC chair is committing an illegality by depriving people from exercising their rights provided under the Constitution. And when you deny me that, the Constitution gives me that right, not just to protest, but to make sure that I fight you and make sure that what is legally right is done. And that is, I will vote by all means. And I will prevent others I do not know they were on my register, who have been transferred from anywhere else to that register. We will prevent them from voting on the voting day. So we'll be there to do that job. If that is what they want, they will get it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That concludes our show for today anyway. This is Koko Abija, who says the remand of the demonstrators is to put fear in the NDC from demonstrating against the forensic audit of the register, but they are tickling themselves and laughing. Thank you very much for the comment. Jonas also sent a comment earlier on. Okay, he's asking about Comrade Kwesi Pratt. He's fine. He's very fine. He will join us one of these days. That's all I can say. So he will join us one of these days. He's good. There's some PLA who says in Odududu the party may not have had our dynamics accurate. However, what I ask of the Don is to forgive and forget and look into the future which belongs to him. There's no way we should lose that seat to the MPP. That's coming from Ambassador Sampiale, who sent that one. So those are some of the comments you're sending to us this morning. I'd like to say a big thank you to you for joining us. First, before I close, I'd like to acknowledge those who have been picking our feed live this morning, all the radio stations. I just found out this morning that Denigba Radio is one of them. A few of the stations that have been doing that, I know on my list, Shine FM in Akachi 96.9 is not exhaustive. I'm not saying they are the only stations picking us. They are the only stations who have drawn our attention to the fact that they are picking us live. Shine FM in Akachi on 96.9, Eos FM in Adaklo on 91.7, Newasi Radio in Ketekrachi on 89.7, Sela Radio in Dabala on 97.1, Diamond FM in Tamale on 93.7, Gbawa Radio in Yendi on 106.5, Radio Kita on Saboba 95.7, Benya FM Elmina 105.7, Global FM 105.1 in Ho, there's Zeps FM 95.9 in Zebila. There's True FM 92.5 in Adeso. Lamar FM 89.1 in Tripoli. Boem 88.7 FM in Jessica. Lukusi 96.1 in Vergolokwati. Tyne FM is on 90.9. Sekpele 104.3 in Likbe Todome. Akpini Radio in Pando. And many of you. And also our friends at Citizen TV Ghana. That's a social media platform that they used to pick us live. And of course, this morning, like I said, I heard Danigba Radio is also picking us live. Let me say a happy birthday to a few people. Happy birthday to you, Epiphania Edrolali. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to one of the women who taught me at the very early stages of my education, Mrs. Delali Polivi. A happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. And a happy belated birthday to former Miss Joyce Kobutonya. I don't know your Mrs. name. Former Miss Joyce Kobutonya. I've forgotten the Mrs. aspect. A belated happy birthday to you. And a belated happy birthday to Commodore Stephen George Obimpe. Belated happy birthday to you. And a belated happy birthday to one Mr. Chase. Well, a big thank you to my panel for today. Solomon Owusu is a member of the Movement for Change, Alliance for Revolutionary Change. And of course, Louisa Kwachi, who seems to have won a lot of hearts with the very first appearance on the show. Louisa, it was nice to have you on the show. Member of the NDC's communication team. And it was also wonderful to see Kwesi Adakwa this morning. Kwesi Adakwa is a member of the Socialist Movement of Ghana. And me, your boy, Anan, popularly known as the Don in Odudududio. He is a financial analyst, a member of the National Democratic Congress. He likes to always be linked to the Odudududio party. So, you know, Odudududio. Well, we are back same time next week with another edition of the show. A big thank you to...
Jesse independent.
Yeah, I told him to go, but I don't see you. Oh, you have more of these.
A big thank you to
He
the
has
crew.
slept.
A big thank you to the crew. Tijani leads the production with Latifa Adams, who is the CEO of Abindadi, Shito, who is solo, knows famous. Yes, and of course, there is a Rabna Frimpong, and a big thank you to the director Gerard, also to our sound and Theophilus. A big thank you to all of you. Thank you very much. We are back same time next week with another edition of the show. Do enjoy the rest of your weekend. Have a fruitful week. And of course, congratulations to Samuel Adawe and Elizabeth, and also to Vicentia and Mr. President Philip Agume.
People into the land of freedom. He's the Redeemer.